the notable subject of life in the 1960s back in New York City in a housing project known as the Cause Housing Projects. And all of this is wrapped gently between the covers of the extraordinary book written by James McBride. James McBride, who started off his writing career with his loving and devotional memoir to his mother. It was called The Color of Water. That was the first book that I ever interviewed on air. James McBride's The Color of Water. It was an extraordinary book, and since that time, he's gone on to become one of the greatest writers in the nation. A little bit later on, I'll read an endorsement of the book we're covering today, Deacon King Kong. I'm telling you, now having pastored a few churches in my life, I know a little bit about some deacons, and there are a couple of them that I've known who might have been able to answer to the name Deacon King Kong, but this is broader than that. This is more than just a one-dimensional profile of one guy. This book is an expansive, rolling, rollicking look at life in the inner city, particularly as it is depicted in New York City, all through the lens of and all based on the life of a very lucky gentleman until his luck runs out, by the name of Cuffy Jasper Lambkin, who goes by the nickname Sport Coat, but who also goes by the nickname, you guessed it, Deacon King Kong. This is going to be quite a story, and to help us to understand how this story unfolds, we enlisted one of the nation's best storytellers of storytelling. He is a book reviewer for Lit Reactor and also the book review editor at Pank Magazine. Gabino Iglesias, based in Austin, Texas, will be our guest at 4:30 as we launch into our new book club. I hope you got the book. Deacon King Kong is the name of the book, and here's the better part of it all. In our gracious spirit, as we launch this book club, we're going to be giving away some free gifts. 4-book bundle giveaway containing 4 random books from the sponsor of our book club, Definas. Definas is an imprint of Kensington Books that specializes in authors of color, and they've got a book list, and we'll be drawing some of our books from their book list, and hopefully those of you who win will receive, or the person who wins will receive, some of the books that we'll be covering a little bit later. But a 4-book bundle giveaway will be given to the winner of our, well, the contest will be a little bit later on. I'll tell you exactly how we do it in the 5 o'clock hour. And if you'd like to be the winner, just keep listening. I'll tell you how you can win that special bundle of gifts from Definas. Definas is a great publisher, and they are focused in now on the pen, the heart, and the hand, and the lives of African-American people and people of color. They are an imprint of Kensington Books. You don't want to miss that. Now, that's just the start of the show. Coming up a little bit after that, a young lady, and I say that not in any kind of, how should we say it? This is not a patronizing way. I call her a young lady because she's younger than I am. She has vibrance, intelligence, integrity, and skill, and she has taken it through a variety of locations. When I say a variety of locations, she once served as the city's managing director. She served as the chief of staff at Rutgers University, and now she is serving as the CEO of Philabundance, that great institution of service that provides food for thousands and thousands of people in our area. I'm really pleased to be able to share time on air today with Laurie Jones at 5:30, and we'll be talking about ways that people are finding what they need to survive in this pandemic. And I told you last night, I told you that there was a shortage, a very special shortage. Didn't get a chance to tell you about it, but today, at the end of the program, everything going well, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we'll talk about that shortage. I want to thank all of the folks who make it possible to do this to have so much fun with you on a day-to-day basis. Chief among them is a gentleman who is the pride of Sicklerville, New Jersey, and of course, who stands in the proud legacy of those who graduate from Hampton Institution. And the Hampton Institution, as you all know, is named after a sandwich, a ham sandwich, and that's where they got the name. Please make welcome Mr. Eric Nixon. Eric, how you feeling today, sir?
Busy, but it's a Tuesday.
I see the applause. The applause. How come I notice there's always applause that accompanies your entrance, but when I come, there might be a cat meowing or a dog barking. That's about it.
Well, you can't applaud the voice of God because you must hear it all.
Hey, look, man, I want you to know I whispered a prayer for your mom. How's she feeling? She feeling gooder?
She's gooder. She's gooder.
Okay.
You know, not
That's
worser,
all.
but gooder.
That's all we're looking for. That is what we are looking for. Just a mom who is feeling a little bit gooder. And how are you on this beautiful Tuesday, good sir?
It's Tuesday. I'm feeling good. I can't complain.
You know, is Wednesday a true hump day for you? When you get to Wednesday, do you feel like it's halfway over?
Wednesday just has a very good feeling of a halfway point. Regardless, I'd say it does feel like that sometimes.
Yeah. I used to feel that way, but I don't. My life doesn't have a halfway point. You know, it used to be. You know, if you ask a preacher, they'll tell you that Monday is the preacher's day off, and and of course we have our meetings on Monday, so there that goes. And of course, my first day of the week on air is on Monday, and then on Tuesday I have ministerial meetings. Had those all day today, and of course we're back on air. Then Wednesday I have midweek service in the evening after I get off air. And then on Thursday, of course, I'm on air and got to make sure that the sermon is in place for the week that's coming on Friday. We're getting ready for our services that take place on Saturday, and then Saturday comes, and then Sunday sometimes we have meetings, and then it's right back to Monday. There's no hump day for me. Do you feel sorry for me?
No, and you know why.
I mean, I really thought that you would have broken into tears by now. Did you not hear Jetty Newkirk last night saying that the boy needs some love and some caring? I think I'm about to break into tears. If I were better looking, I would cry right now in public, but I know that I'm not, and so
two words come to mind.
What's that?
Self-inflicted.
Oh! I see. God gives me a work to do, and you call it self-inflicted.
I wasn't talking about your work with God.
I see. I get it. You know, ain't no love for a brother. No love from Sicklerville. No love from Hampton University. None. That's okay. I'm going to survive.
You will.
I'm going to survive.
You will. You're right.
I feel like Gloria Gaynor. I'm going to survive. You know. No matter how much you do to me, I know that I'll forget the words to the song, but anyway, I'm going to survive. Hey, tomorrow, looking forward to having let me give you just a little line up here. I told you about what we're doing today, but tomorrow on air, we have the opportunity to enjoy not only our normal conversation. We'll be joined by the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Pennsylvania once again to talk about something that happened last week that we didn't get a chance to talk about. And that is, while they were trying to strip democracy down in Washington, D.C., in Pennsylvania, they were doing something close to it, not with the level of violence, but instead of using a sledgehammer, they were using a scalpel. They would not seat a duly elected state senator from the Pittsburgh area. The Republican majority would not seat that senator when the lieutenant governor, who is the president of the Senate, follow me now, in the state of Pennsylvania, tried to get them to do what is constitutionally mandated. They kicked the lieutenant governor out of the chair that he occupies by law in the Senate. Now, let me tell you something. Kicking our lieutenant governor out of any place is an iffy proposition because Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman stands 6 feet 8 inches tall. He is not the kind of person you want to go to kicking out of places. We'll be asking him tomorrow exactly what was going on with the craziness in the State House up in Harrisburg. And he'll also share an announcement with you about some plans that he has. You'll be hearing about it here on WURD. And then at 5 o'clock, it is time for our next edition of the extraordinary podcast being produced by WURD, helmed by our own Sarah Lomax Reese. It is episode 3 in our series of podcasts, and it will air tomorrow at 5 o'clock here on Evening Words with Nick. That gives us an opportunity to listen to what Sarah is sharing with us. Now, if you've missed the first two, then you've missed some deep, reflective, thoughtful sharings by the fearless leader, Sarah Lomax Reese, share not only from her own heart, but from the hearts of many of the professionals who make up the staff here at WURD. Charles Ellison was included, Solomon Jones was included. And I've got to tell you, it is really the kind of stuff when you're listening to a radio where you feel elevated, educated, and inspired all at the same time. So tomorrow at 5, episode 3 of our new podcast series will air. And then after that, 6 o'clock, we get a chance to reflect on the things that we have had shared with us through that podcast. Looking forward to spending time with you on that. Whole lot of good stuff coming at you this week. I hope that you will be always around so that we can share it together with you. Cold out there in the mornings. I'm hoping that you folks are dressing up, staying warm. I really do. But for today, we're going to warm you up just a little bit as we introduce our brand new book club. And at the end of our program today, I will introduce to you the book for February. As you know, February is Black History Month. And also the month of love. Maybe I ought to do 2 books. But right now, we'll just stay with one. And it is a great book being spoken about, talked about all over the country. I'll tell you about that a little bit later on. But today, we'll start our book club with the first entry, Deacon King Kong. When you hear the nicknames I'm telling you, when you hear the nicknames of all of the folks who populate the pages of Deacon King Kong, it's going to make you smile. It has to make you smile just when you hear the nickname of all of the different guests. We'll be joined by Gabino Iglesias out of Austin, Texas, where he is a book reviewer for several outlets, and he did a fantastic job on Deacon King Kong. He'll be sharing with us what the book's all about and how we can get deep within the hidden mystery of the pages. And trust me, there are some mysteries in that book. All of that stuff and more coming your way in just a few. Now, yesterday we were talking about the insanity that took place last week down in Washington, D.C., in the Capitol, when people stormed the Capitol like some type of libertines storming the Bastille, but it wasn't quite that way. These people went inside, put their dirty boots up on the desk of the Speaker of the House, rolled a couple of fatties and smoked some dope inside the Capitol, and some of them, I understand, poured a couple of drinks. I don't know what else went on. One of our guests said that he saw some of the people, this is true, I'm not trying to be vulgar, but urinating in places in the Capitol. These individuals, they went in there without a plan and without a clue. And now we are finding individuals being arrested all over the country in connection with the invasion, with the insurgency, with the insurrection that took place at the Capitol last week. I mean, some of the folks are surprising to their neighbors. They're realizing that, hey, wait a minute, I didn't know this person was that way. But we're seeing people being arrested all over the place. The thing that is surprising some people is that some of these people being arrested are law enforcement officers, and others who are being arrested are former armed forces people who were in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. The young woman who was killed, and I call her young because she was in her mid-30s, I believe 35. The young woman who was killed, her last name was Babbitt, and I cannot remember now her first name, was a former member of the Air Force. There's something weird going on with this so-called revolutionary band of ne'er-do-wells who are following Donald Trump. And even as we speak about this, we are waiting and watching for the news to come down the pike as to what will happen. The House of Representatives has given the vice president, I believe, until this evening to invoke the 25th Amendment, which will relieve the president of his job if a certain number of members of the cabinet agree with him. And as we are seeing, members of the cabinet are jumping ship as quickly as you can say Jack Sprat. And then that has to be cleared by the two houses of Congress. And all of this will, of course, will take longer than it will be before the former president has to leave anyway, because he's out of the door by the 20th. But the idea is to serve notice to the country that this will not be tolerated, but also to serve notice to Donald Trump that this was your last hurrah, that you will never be welcome again. To me, it might be. Now, this is just one man speaking, and then we'll take our break, and then we'll get ready to launch into our first book. But to me, rather than get him to resign, which almost sounds noble, and rather than try to invoke the 25th Amendment, which probably will not go anyway because the Senate wouldn't go for it, and rather than impeach him again, because for the same reasons pretty much, I think that what should happen is that the House should launch, should file papers for censorship, that they should censure the president and thereby disallow him from running for any other office. Then let some time go by, and then, let the courts outside bring charges and then prosecute the president on some of the other inane things that he has done. And if convicted of those things, it will serve the same purpose. He still would not be able to run for office. That is just one man's thinking. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I remember that day. Touché. But I could be wrong. But I am thinking it is better to not muddy the first 100 days of the Biden-Harris administration with chasing the ghost of Donald Trump. It's just one man's opinion, folks. I'm just thinking that is just the way that I am seeing it from the position that I occupy and from where I stand at present. All right, folks, it's time for us to take our first break. Today is the maiden voyage of WURD's new book club. I'm grateful to be able to host that new book club, and we'll be going through once a month, introducing you to a brand new book, and I hope that you are looking forward to reading a brand new book every month that comes your way. We're going to become the most literate group of listeners to be found anywhere this side of the Pecos Mountains. Yesterday, I introduced the word for the day, and the word for the day was anachronism. That word means something that is outside of its time or context, like the crank for an automobile is an anachronism. Who uses that today? And now, our term for today, not word, but our term for the day is stochastic terrorism. Stochastic terrorism. The word stochastic comes from a Greek word which originally meant to take aim, and then somehow or another came to mean something that is hit randomly. Stochastic terrorism is when something happens where someone, by speaking against the thing, creates animus towards someone or something without specifically naming them, without specifically telling people what to do. It is what President Donald Trump does, stochastic terrorism. He says things and gins up a certain emotional feeling without being specific. He didn't say, go down to the Capitol, break the doors down, and trash the place. But he said enough so that people thought that they figured out what he wanted to do. The same way the Proud Boys came away when he says, stand back and stand down. The same way they thought that they had gotten marching orders. This is what our current president does. Stochastic terrorism. There'll be a test. Make sure you take notes. All right, folks, time for the first break here. It is now 22 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock. It is the launching of our new book club. The name of the book is Deacon King Kong. We'll be talking about that book with our book reviewer in-house with us today. He is a professional reviewer of books, Mr. Gabino Iglesias. And at 4:30, he comes your way, and we talk about one of the most exciting books on the market. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio. Got a crash this afternoon on 295 on the southbound side at the 42 freeway. It's actually on the on-ramp to 42 southbound. That ramp is shut down right now with this crash. We've got delays stretching back to 168 the Black Horse Pike. Meantime, Schuylkill Expressway westbound, heavy through the construction zone, University Avenue to 30th. We've got the left lane blocked there. Further westbound, we're stop and go Gladwin to Conchie. Eastbound heavy from 476 to Belmont and stop and go Spring Garden to South Street. And we've got some delays on the Vine Expressway, one long line of traffic, 8th to the Schuylkill, and 95 northbound backs up Betsy Ross Bridge to Bridge Street. Report brought to you by CVS. It pays to fill your prescriptions at CVS. In fact, you could earn up to $50 in extra bucks each year just for filling prescriptions. That's healthier made easier. Visit CVS today. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states. See cvs.com/RX rewards or the pharmacy for details. And for more traffic information, just log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jason Lee with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Happy New Year, Philly. It's Solomon Jones. The pandemic of 2020 blew the roof off of life as we know it and forced us to make radical decisions once thought impossible. Many parents and grandparents turned to the option of a public cyber education. In thousands of instances, they sought assistance from the one true pioneer and industry leader in public cyber education, Commonwealth Charter Academy. Visit ccaeducate.me and exercise your right to choose a safe, hassle-free, student-focused learning environment your kids deserve. CCA delivers elite online instruction streamed directly to the safety and comfort of your living room. They provide a laptop and headset along with internet connectivity that includes financial assistance, all at no cost to families. CCA has been the gold standard in school choice for nearly 20 years. Visit ccaeducate.me and ring in 2021 with a 5-star learning experience. Again, that's ccaeducate.me.
Are you tired of eating the same thing day after day? Is ordering takeout starting to get a little old? If so, then give Premium Nutrition Meals a try. With Premium Nutrition Meals, you get to select new entrees each week from several different menus, all chef-crafted, freshly prepared, and delivered right to your door. Just go to PremiumNutritionMeals.com to order to earn rewards today. WURD listeners receive $10 off orders of 6 meals or more. Enter code PREMIUMWURD at checkout.
Now, a WURD Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship.
Clear and unseasonably cold, a low of 28 degrees. Tomorrow, the dry stretch continues, mostly sunny, a high in the mid-40s. Thursday, our warming trend starts. We head into the 50s with partly sunny skies. And by Friday, we're even warmer, up to 54 degrees. That's about 15 degrees above our average for this time of year. Saturday could be the end of our dry streak. There is a chance of morning showers with a high of 44 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at ForWord. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. You're listening to Evening Words, hosted by Nick Taliaferro, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
And we're back with you, ladies and gentlemen. Glad that you can join us, and we welcome you to this very special occasion as we launch our book club. We want to thank our friends at Defina Books, which is an imprint of Kensington Books. They specialize in books by African-American authors and also about the lives of people of color. We'll be sharing some of those books with you as we go throughout our monthly book club readings. We're hoping that you'll be able to avail yourself of the books that we speak about and that you'll be joining in on the conversation. Our first book, Our Maiden Voyage, starts with the massive hit of a book, Deacon King Kong, that we will bring to you in just a moment when we present our first guest, who is the book review editor at Pank Magazine and a columnist at Lit Reactor. He is also a teacher living in the Austin, Texas area, where he reviews books the same way that most of you folks eat sandwiches. This man devours books, and you'll be making him welcome in just a few moments. But before we do that, we'll be sharing with you A review of the book by someone that you know very, very well. I remember when the book came out, I said to myself, I don't know what this book could possibly be about. I wasn't sure about it. I like the author. James McBride's a great author and a great person, but the title, Deacon King Kong, just kind of, it made me think of a deacon who had maybe had done something bad to children or something. I just couldn't seem to get my head around it. But after a moment, someone else decided that this book was something that all of us should read. You'll recognize the voice. And I'm going to ask Eric now to play this clip recommending the book Deacon King Kong to us. And then we will get into our discussion after I introduce my guest. Eric, if you will spin that clip for us.
While we all mourn the Black lives that have been taken from us, we're going to celebrate the work and life of another. In 2015, President Obama awarded James McBride the National Humanities Medal for humanizing the complexities of discussing race in America. And in a moment when our country roils with righteous anger and grief, Deacon King Kong reminds us that when we come together as a community in compassion and empathy, our love triumphs. So I am praying, just like all of you, for justice and love to triumph in our country today. And in naming Deacon King Kong my latest book club selection, I'm hoping that readers will find in it what I did: sorrow, joy, resilience, humanity, and understanding that while we all struggle with pain and trauma, we can find sheltering in one another, just like the folks in the cause in McBride's Brooklyn do. It's a great choice, Deacon King Kong.
Yeah, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The name of the book is Deacon King Kong. Do not be fooled by the title. And here to help us to wrap our souls around this this really good spinning of a yarn by James McBride is a gentleman who spends his time, as I said before, consuming books the way a fat boy eats cake. He is a writer, reader, and a lover of music, and he is a book reviewer par excellence, serving as the book review editor of Pank Magazine and a columnist at Lit Reactor. Please make welcome all the way from Austin, Texas, Mr. Gabino Iglesias. Am I saying your name right, sir?
Yes, sir, you are.
Man, it is a pleasure to have you on board, and what a stunning and what an exhilarating review that you wrote of this book, Deacon King Kong. When did you read it, if I might ask, Gabino?
Earlier this year. Last year was, last year was like 17 years long. But if I remember correctly, the review came out on March 7th. So
Okay.
My guess, it's probably somewhere in January I read that book, which is 16 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, last year was one for the books. Let us set the scene for this book, Deacon King Kong, written by James McBride. James McBride is from New York. He also spent time here in the city of Philadelphia, where I met him years ago. But the book is set in the 1960s, the year of the Miracle Mets, at a housing project called the Cause Housing Project, and it centers in on the life of a gentleman whose name is Cuffy Jasper Lampkin. But that's not what they call him. Tell us about this character, this central character of the book.
If you can imagine a book of nonfiction of somebody, who lived their entire life in New York and did great things, and then also this mythical being who had a really, really awkward beginning in life, I think that's Cuffy. It's a mixture of I've known this person before, and what an incredible tale. Only James McBride could have written that type of character.
When we talk about colorful, it is colorful. Cuffy Jasper Lampkin is his name, but nobody calls him that. He goes by the name, and I'm going to say it in the way that they would say it there. He goes by the name of Sport Coat, or Spoke Coat is the way they say it. He gets that name, but also he has another moniker that attaches to him, and that is Deacon King Kong, because of a title he gets from his church and the King Kong. Where does the King Kong come from, if I might ask, Gabino?
Here's the thing. There's a couple of things that I decided not to talk about in the review. So I talk about the shot. I talk about the ear being blown off. I talk about, and then I decided I'm not going to tell what happened to the money.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell people where that come from.
You're not going to tell them where the King Kong comes from?
You got to read the book.
I got to read the book. All right. He's not going to tell you, but I will tell you this, that the King Kong comes from a place that many of you might know already. That many of you might know already, and it might require a 12-step program to get away from. I won't go any further than that. I'll go no further than that. The book begins, I mean, it launches. It's one of those kind of books. It's like that movie that Steven Spielberg did where it starts with the action just hits you right in the face. The book begins with Sport Coat, who was a deacon in this church, and we'll talk more about the Five Ends Baptist Church in a moment. He is walking into the plaza of his housing project to confront a young man almost whimsically. He's doing it. And against all odds, this kindly caricature does something that you would not expect him to do. With a gentleman known as Deems Clemens. What happens in that plaza, if you would be so kind as to share it, Gabino?
There's a little bit of violence that goes down. It's fast and it's nasty and it's unexpected and it has really bad consequences. But it's the one thing that one of the many things that McBride does so well. We all have a breaking point. And you have a man here who's worried. You have a man here who's kind of lonely. You have a man here who's under a lot of pressure. And he just, sometimes you get an old gun and you go do something really stupid. And then that's how we start.
And we talk about the old man lonely, about 71 years old, I believe, at the time. And he's lonely because he just lost his beloved wife who died tragically. And he is... I mean, and this brings us to a real part of life in urban communities. People are watching him unravel, but nobody has found a way to help him before the unraveling becomes complete. He's walking around arguing with his dead wife on a relatively constant basis. I mean, how does this play out in urban communities around the country where you watch older people and you see them coming apart at the seams, but
communities are weird. Communities are tiny miracles, and then they can also be, they're full of humans, so they can be kind of dark. And as you know, sometimes you just see people going down the wrong path, and ain't none of my business. That's you. I see you, but if it doesn't affect me, I'm not gonna get up in your face about it. And he's somewhat respected figure in the community. He has a role to play, but we all kind of also accept, older people sometimes start losing their minds. No biggie. And then,
it's funny in urban communities, that is what happens. People, you're going through stuff, we see it, and it's like, well, it ain't my business. We back away from it. In small rural communities, they get too close. They get all up in your business, and everybody's trying to fix it. But in this case, they just kind of let it go. This man, Cuffy Jasper Lampkin, better known as Sport Coat, is a deacon, and that's where the name comes from. One of the funny things about the book is that nobody seems to know what a deacon does.
They go to a building and they talk to people, apparently.
Yeah, he's a deacon of the Five Ends Baptist Church. If you could characterize this church a little bit for me.
I think, and I've been living here in the south of the U.S. for the past almost 15 years.
Where are you from originally, Gabino, if I might ask?
I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm from the Caribbean. Okay. So my country is basically a small town. My whole country is a small town. It's 100 miles long by 35 miles wide. That's a small town. Big city church is not small town, rural Texas, Mississippi, Alabama church. So it's a different, it kind of feels like an office. Deacon King Kong's joint is like, yeah, some older people go there, but it operates kind of like a business from time to time, which is why there's a little bit of missing money and there's all the things that happened. I cannot imagine a church or any other type of religious place operating the same way in the South as they do in New York City. It's an entirely different ball game. Probably Philadelphia and cities like Chicago too, but it's unique.
And trust me, churches. I've seen this church before, the Five Ends Baptist Church. Here's the thing about he's a respected member of the church, a very trusted member of the church, and he's a drunk. I mean, he's a drunk.
Like, I mean, he carries the bottle around. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's taking communion every 5 minutes, and he ain't using wine. He is a drunk. But it's kind of like. He is an accepted character. People know him for this, and they accept him. And speaking of character, and this is something that James McBride does really well. I mean, even when he did his book on his mom, The Color of Water, I mean, he drew the characters very well, but he has become a master at it now. This book is so filled with characters that you almost lose the story trying to keep up with the characters. I'm going to throw a couple of names out at you and see if you can flesh out these characters for us. There's Hattie, his deceased wife. She's dead, but she's still very much alive in the book.
She's there. She's a voice. I think what Mike Bry was going for is you can spend enough time with a person that they become part of you. So when they're gone, they're not gone. So he hears her constantly. I don't want to blame the ghost on pushing him to drink, but it certainly doesn't help. So it's this ongoing battle. It's an argument. It's not a completely. It's not comfort. It's not that kind of ghost. Right. It's more of like a kind of annoying presence,
nagging ghost.
Nagging ghost right there in your ear, whispering about certain things. So I think that kind of gives him a little bit of an excuse for some of his actions, because in a way he's a haunted man. So we give him a pass.
Now, and then there is Deems Clements, who is a young man who is considered to be, whereas Sport Coat is considered to be the old black man in the plaza, that just kind of got along and shuffled along. Deems Clements is the new black man, where he is involved in some things that are highly destructive. Well, let's get right to it. He's a drug dealer, and he becomes the target of Sport Coat's bullet launching there. What is his connection to the main character?
Early on, Deacon blows off his ear with a bullet from a rusty .38. But when they stand together on the page, you just mentioned age. They are completely different in terms of age. They belong to different worlds. But I think McBride never intended any of his characters to be seen as bad. So this guy has a heart. He's also part of the community. And the thing that he does so well with this a plethora of characters and the cop and everybody else is they're people, they're normal. So he pulls you down into the gutter and says, this is some of the stuff that we got to do to survive. So yeah, he's taking down a bad road. He's taking a bad path in life, but not necessarily because he's a bad person. Sometimes this is just the kind of stuff that you have to do to get by. And we understand him.
He says with measured insouciance. Our guest is Gabino Iglesias. He is a book reviewer based in Austin, Texas, a book review editor for Pank Magazine and columnist for Lit Reactor. We're talking about the book, Deacon King Kong. Now, our guest has said he's not going to give you the plots. He's not going to give away the secrets. So you're not going to necessarily know who gets redemption, who gets dead, and some of the other things that need to be revealed to you. That's for you to read the book. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk a little bit more about some of the inanimate objects in the book that take on personality as well. You're listening to Evening Words here at WURD. I'm Nick Taliaferro. It's now 18 minutes away from the hour of 5 o'clock. In the 5 o'clock hour, we'll be giving away a free gift for someone who's lucky enough to be the first caller. We'll tell you about that more a little bit later on, but now a few messages. Stay with us.
Clark Roofing Company has over 30 years of quality roofing experience, providing exceptional customer service, honesty, and professionalism. Clark Roofing is a second-generation master roofer, installing top-quality roofing systems for commercial and residential properties across the tri-state area. For fast, dependable service, call 215-365-ROOF. That's 215-365-7663.
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at WURD. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. You're listening to Evening Words, hosted by Nick Taliaferro, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Back with you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the day we launch our new book club. Glad that you can join us. We're talking about the book Deacon Sport Code, and I'm joined by Gabino Iglesias, who is a teacher in Austin, Texas, a writer, a reader. He consumes books, and the good thing about it is once he does, he writes some scintillating reviews about those books. That's how I met him, having read his review about the book Deacon Sport Code. He is the book reviews editor at Pank Magazine and a columnist at Lit Reactor, and we're talking about James McBride's epic book, Deacon Sports Code. Welcome back to you, Gabino.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
This now, the central to the story is the fact that Deacon Sport Code, Cuffy Jasper Lampkin, his wife died, but when she died, she did not reveal to him where a certain sum of money was, which was, and most people don't even know about this anymore, the Christmas club money from the church. What happened to that money? I know you. I know.
That's the same question everybody's asking in the book.
Where is the money?
Where is the money? What happened to that money? I think having that as the driving question was a brilliant move because at the beginning, Deacon doesn't know. He's also looking for that money. So we're all looking for that money. And then we are led to believe there's the core of the narrative. And then McBride will say, well, here's 10 pages on the history of how red ants got to New York City.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, almost like Ghost out of the Machine. He comes up with how red ants get into New York City.
Exactly.
And we're looking at the book through the lens of a bunch of red ants. I mean,
and then you're done, and then he's an African American, a black author, and then you say, all right, this is going to be about black people in the project in New York City, and then he goes like, no, here's an Irish cop. Here's a bunch of Puerto Ricans at the bodega. Here's an
Italian gangster,
an Italian mobster, and he just pulls you down, and he's literally giving you a tour of New York City, 1969. You end up forgetting about the money until it comes back up, or somebody asks about the money again. It's that richness of those characters. It's the way that they see each other, the way that they play their roles in very faulty ways in that community. How you perceive them now based on what you know about their past, or what information he gives you about their past. And they have these very unique problems, and what emerges from that is this sense of the universal. Like we've seen these people. In the case of you and me, we are this people, right? Mm-hmm. Like you are the African American man doing the thing to get by, and I'm the Latino man trying to survive as well. And he just says, "Hey, I'm gonna give this to you. So don't try to focus so hard on the core of the narrative, because I'm going to take you on a wild ride, and we're gonna follow some strange roads while we never forget about the main characters."
And speaking of it, the wild rides. I mean, you just reeled off a list of characters. There is the Irish cop Potts. There's the black undercover cop Jet. There is the Italian gangster Elephant. But somehow or another, and McBride weaves all of this stuff together so that everything touches everything. I mean, I guess this is what big city urban life is like. Even though we're very different, we come from different places, we have different ideas and needs. At the end of the day, our lives are constantly intersecting.
They are. And the beauty of his work is you never doubt for a second that he understands each one of his characters. He's almost a magician. He can turn New York City, one of the most crazy, fool, creative cities in the world, and he controls it. He's like, I don't have to do world building because New York was already built in 1969. Everything's there, but he's always in control. It's not by accident. We just mentioned the red ants. That's not an accident. That's not an author who was lost and started randomly writing about ants. He has a point. And then you might say this is just pure entertainment, or in my case, I could say like, wait. Maybe he was talking about migration. And then I invite you to think about it somehow differently. But regardless of one of those, whether you want to think it's entertainment or that he's making a really, really a smart point about people coming in from other countries into New York City and becoming part of the city itself, it doesn't matter, because whichever one you choose, he was completely in control at all times. He knew what he was doing.
So he's launching, the red ants representing, as you said before, the constant stream of migration that makes New York City what it is. The idea of this mystical, this pot of money that is missing, and people are searching for it and wondering, is that also metaphorical? All of us are kind of looking for our pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and the weird things that we do trying to get to it, and chasing it so long that we forget that life is what happens while you're trying to get to what you think you need for life to happen.
You nailed it. I think he did two things with the missing money. Besides on a narrative scale, just giving you that little bit of a mystery to solve. The first is what you're talking about. We're all looking for that. It seems like if you're a mobster, that's easy money. If you have any needs, that's a way out. But it's also this very strange thing because it's not there. So it's not there because certain people had it. And suddenly I respect you, you're my friend, but then if certain amount of money goes missing and it was under your care, we're still friends. Right, but I might look at you different or talk about you differently to third parties when we discuss you. And he does that very well. It's church, it's the deacon, but hey, money's still missing. He probably knows where it is. So what happened? Nice old lady died, and money's still missing. So
money's missing
down there. Yeah,
it's like somebody told me one time. They said, "Man, look, you can tell me anything. We are friends to the end." I said, "Man, look, I lost your money." He said, "Brother, that's the end."
that's it.
That's the end.
You brought it.
Hey, now, folks, somebody just wrote in, and I'll tell you what, I'll open the phone lines, 215-634-8065. Someone wrote in and said, you guys are giving away too much of the story. No, we are not.
No. This is almost 400 pages of, we just gave you about 2%.
This book is like weaving together 6 or 7 or 9 other stories, and then at the end, they tie together, some sad, some not so sad. Some people find redemption, some people do not. Which character was the one that you thought would really come off like a shining star at the end, but came off more tarnished? And I don't know if that gives away too much for you. Or maybe I should ask the other way. Who did you think would come out great and then at the end came off looking like an old rusty nail?
Old rusty nail.
Just hanging there, but more dangerous than anything,
More,
the drug dealing character of Deems Clemens. Didn't turn out too bad.
He didn't turn out too bad.
It didn't turn out too bad. I won't tell everybody what happened, but
I thought the character arc for Potts was going to be slightly different.
Potts is the Irish policeman.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be and this is a very recent novel. I know it sounds like I read it 17 years ago, but it was literally January of last year. And I thought, he wrote this and stuff was already happening with the cops. Black Lives Matter was already a thing.
Mm-hmm.
He just throws it back to 1969, but he's a white law enforcement officer in New York City. Is this going to be a secondary character? Is this going to be a dirty racist for the rest of the story? Like, I didn't know where that thing was going. And I think he handled it very well. I'm not saying there's no racism in this book. There is racism in this book.
It's 1969.
It's 1969, New York City. I'm not saying it's a book set in 1928 Mississippi, but still a lot of racism here, but not from the usual places. And in this case, I thought that's where he was going, and that character turned out slightly different than what I expected.
Now, I want you to this what you just heard was an artist of a book reviewer. He told you everything, but then he didn't tell you anything. He didn't tell you how he turned out. He didn't tell you what he expected him to be. He just gave you a dark imaging of something not going the way he thought that it would go.
Yes, and I was surprised that somebody said we're giving away too much. Trust me, this is just a fraction.
When you crack this book and you realize every chapter starts off in a way that makes you think. I mean, here are some of the chapters. Chapter 1, Jesus' cheese. the story of the magic cheese that appeared every Christmas. Jesus' cheese. A dead man. Chapter 3, Jet. Chapter 5, the governor. Chapter 7, which Camilo talked about a few minutes ago, the March of the Ants. And then closing with chapters like May God Hold You. And then Harold, which is an interesting chapter. Do you want to say anything about Harold Dean?
I was going to ask for your permission right now to read half a sentence.
Please do. I mean, give it a little more than that if you would.
But here's the thing. When we write book reviews, we strive to offer as much as possible without giving it away, because we want you to read the book or to skip it, right? We don't want to ruin the story for you, but we might suggest your time will be better spent elsewhere. But we only have 900 words. So that's, I have one word per 3 pages that he wrote, which isn't fair. I wish I could have written about this whole essay. So I had to pick my quotes, and I had this line in my head, and I knew that it was too long. This is half a sentence in this book. Assault phenomenon in the Republic of Brooklyn, where cats hollered like people, dogs eat their own feces. Aunties chain smoked and died at age 102. A kid named Spike Lee saw God. The ghosts of the departed Dodgers soaked up all possibility of new hope, and penniless desperation ruled the lives of the suckers too black or too poor to leave. While in Manhattan the buses ran on time, the lights never went out. The death of a single white child in a traffic accident was a page 1 story, while phony versions of Black and Latino life ruled the Broadway roost, making white writers rich. West Side Story, Porgy and Bess, Pearly Victorious, and on it went the whole business of the white man's reality lumping together like a giant lopsided snowball. The great American myth, the Big Apple, the Big Kahuna, the city that never sleeps, while the blacks and Latinos who cleaned the apartments and dragged out the trash and made the music and filled the jails with sorrows slept the sleep of the invisible and functioned as local color. Half a sentence. That ain't even the beginning of it. I had to cut it in half. That's half a sentence with a whole bunch of commas. But
You know,
that's
it's
how
funny. I just read that today as I was preparing for this interview. I mean, well, I got to tell you, that half of a sentence, it creates a backdrop that, just like you said, draws you in, then draws you down into the lives, the very colorful lives of the people who populate the pages of the book Deacon King Kong. I've got to ask, because I've only got a couple of seconds left, but Gabino, I hope that this is not the last time we get a chance to share a review with you. What got you so deeply into the reading that, you know, they always say that men don't like to read a whole lot, but what got you into the reading of books and then the writing of the reviews of these books?
It was an interesting trip. I always loved literature. So I'm not a native speaker. My native tongue is Spanish. I picked up a lot of horror books as a kid, and then I had to teach myself what those weird words meant.
Wow.
And then I was like, if I can teach myself a second language by reading, I can probably learn more stuff that they're teaching me at school. So I became really passionate about books. And then I wanted to talk about them. And then my career just grew from there. I'm a journalist by training. But then I realized, you know, people get paid to read. I can get all these books for free. This is the most beautiful racket ever created. Let me get into that. So that's how it started. And now it's San Francisco Chronicle, NPR, and, you know, a whole bunch of other places that allow me to more or less do this for I was going to say a living. They let me do it for a surviving, but I'm very glad they do that. And I get to talk to people like you about books and read James McBride on the radio. So it's I'm not stopping. I'll keep going.
Man, look, you have brought to life this book in just a half an hour. You've whetted the appetite of our readers and our listeners.
Hopefully.
Our guest has been, you've done it, Gabino Iglesias. He lives now, he calls home Austin, Texas now, but as one of his reviews said, he was born somewhere and went somewhere else. He is a reviewer of books extraordinaire, serving as a review editor at Pank Magazine, columnist at Lit Reactor, and as he said before, offering book reviews to a wide range of outlets, including NPR. Gabino, you have been a real gift to us today, and I want to thank you for spending time with the good folks at WURD.
Oh, thank you for having me, and best of luck with the book club. I will be tuning in to see what you guys are reading.
All right, not only tuning in to see, but tuning in again, because the next time what I want to do is find some of the books you've already reviewed, bring those back as our book club reviews, man. All the best to you. Have a good time down in Austin. Great city.
I got you, man. You
got it. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to share with you how you can be the winner of our book bundle giveaway, Definas, which is a new imprint by Kensington Books that focuses on the work of authors of color and the lives of people of color. It is our sponsor for our book club. We'll be giving away some gifts at their expense just for you. It's now about, it's 5 o'clock straight up. We'll be back after this pause.
The WURD Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax-Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio Newsletter. Jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Livelihood. The new initiative from WURD Radio to connect Philadelphians to resources to help take the next steps in their professional lives. WordWorks.com features career readiness tools, entrepreneurship resources, funding opportunities, and events to expand your livelihood. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media. WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at WURD TV. Black Talk Media. You're listening to Evening Words, hosted by Nick Taliaferro, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, man, that was fun. There's nothing I enjoy more than getting a book. Books to me, it's like alcohol to a drinker. Every time I turn around, and I keep telling myself not to do it, I'm buying another book. And I just got a book the other day on the history of Egypt that was written from a different perspective, that really opened my eyes to some things and rearranged the history of Egypt through new discoveries in archaeology. And I normally don't read a lot of novels, but I love James McBride's work, and I'm deeply grateful to Gabino Iglesias for helping us to unravel the intricacies of this really, really entertaining, epic novel, Deacon King Kong. It's a great book. We thank Oprah Winfrey for lending her voice to this bit of the opening of our book club and introducing us to Deacon King Kong. It was her book of the, what was it? Her book club book back in the first part of 2020, I do believe it is. And so finally got a chance to catch up with it. I'm telling you, in reading this book, you will find yourself entertained, and you will meet people that you know. 215-634-8065 is the number. 215-634-8065 is the number. And now it's time for us to go into the treasure chest of DeFino's books. DeFino's is a new imprint of Kensington Press that focuses on the lives of people of color from the pens and the heads and the hearts of authors of color. DeFino's books, a great book list of different novels and other books that you might have. Some of their authors will be coming on to join us as we continue on in our book club offerings. And right now, it's time for me to give away a bundle of books, 4 books, from their book list, from their 2021 newest release list, and they're all free just for you. And if you would like to win a bundle of books from DeFino's, all you have to do is call in and be able to answer a question that is generated from the conversation that I just had with Gabino Iglesias about the book Deacon King Kong. Now, I'm not going to make it too hard because this is the beginning. I'm not going to make it too hard, but man, I wish I had more than one bundle of books to give away. I'm saying this so that the people who are in charge of this stuff can hear me, and they can call Eric and say, tell Nick that we'll have a second bundle of books to give away, so I can at least give away 2. I mean, come on, giving away one bundle makes you seem poor, doesn't it? But I've got at least one. We know that. So you call in 215-634-8065, and the first person who can answer the correct question from the interview will receive a bundle of books from DeFino's Publishing, which is a new imprint.
You want to do this like a telephone poll format?
You say telephone poll? No, I want to talk to people, man. I want to mix it up with people. I want to feel like Deacon King Kong.
Okay.
And so 215-634-8065. And, we won't hold you long. We'll give you the question. If you get it wrong, we'll kick you out the back door. No, I'm only kidding. No, we'll talk a little bit, and we'll tell you what the answer is, and then we'll move on from there. But it won't be that bad. Man, I wish I had more than just one bundle of books to give away. Darn, if only someone was listening to me who could say, yes, Nick, we have more than one bundle of books to give away. If only there was a person who could do it.
Stop it.
Oh.
Stop it.
Did somebody say it?
I'm saying it. Stop.
We have more than one bundle?
One right now.
Oh, darn. Gee, I just don't know who D person would be to allow us to give away another
I am
bundle
her other voice telling
of
you
D
no.
books.
I know how you do with these. No.
I just love, I love giving away things, man. Every day is Christmas at WURD. WURD. I wonder if there's someone who can give us another bundle of books at WURD.
She texted me, said 1. She texted me and said
Who said that,
1.
Sarah? Darn. You know, fun. No fun at all. Okay. I'm telling you, here I am trying to be generous and trying to make people feel happy and make them forget about the ravages of 2020, give away a few extra books. And what do I get from my people at WURD? I get nothing. I get stink eye. I get nothing. Well, we're going to see if we can give away a book here now. All right, the callers are on the line, and you can ask me some questions about the book. And if you read the book, oh my goodness, please share some thoughts of your own about really just a great, entertaining novel. I can't wait until they make this either a television movie or a real movie. I think that they're making it an actual movie. Donald, you're up first. Welcome to the show, and welcome to our conversation about Deacon King Kong.
Thank you, Brother Nick. That's my nickname I was given as a boy at the age of 10. And
get out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Was it because you were destructive, or was it because you swung from trees? Why?
Well, because I idolized the 1933 movie King Kong, which was the year my dad was born, 1933, and I wanted to be a champion. I wanted to be like Jack Johnson, since the movie was likened after that particular heavyweight teenager that was knocking down and knocking out white men the size of the Negroes.
Well, look, man.
Blindfolded. He started blindfolded like a lot of other boys his age.
I see. Well, I want to see if I can give away this bundle of books, this one bundle of books that I have, just this one bundle of books that I have, unless somebody gives me another.
No.
You see, the Grinch that stole Christmas is in the studio, just not me. So, would you like to compete for this bundle of books, my friend?
Yes, sir. Yes, I would.
All right. I'm going to ask you a question from the interview that I just had with our book reviewer, Gabino Iglesias, about the book Deacon King Kong, okay?
Okay.
This should be a pretty easy one. At the end of our conversation, he made mention of one character that didn't turn out the way that he thought. I gave that character's name, but you can win this set of books by either giving the character's name or the character's occupation.
The character's occupation was a drug dealer.
Oh, man, not quite. The character that our reviewer talked about was actually an Irish cop by the name of Potts. His nickname was Potts, and he was an Irish police officer. Remember, Iglesias was saying that when McBride was writing, even he put into it the story of police officers, and he wrapped it into the 1969 setting of the book through this cop. You got close, man. I wish I had a consolation prize. Eric, where's your car? I need to give this man a consolation
behind yours
prize.
that's set up to give away, along with the tow truck I told to tow the next winner consolation prize.
Okay, I think we'll have to make it a bus pass. Neither one of us can afford to lose our car. Hey, Donald, I appreciate your trying, man. But next month, we'll be doing it again, my friend. So hang in there with us, and I assure you that you will win.
I will.
Thanks, buddy. Much appreciated. All right, let's see. I'm going to give away this bundle of books. I'm going to give away this one bundle of books that I have to give away. I'm telling you, I'm just brimming over with books here. B in Delaware, welcome to the conversation about the book Deacon King Kong by James McBride.
Reverend
How you doing?
Callie Arrow.
Uh-oh.
Hello, DJ Frosty Phoenix. Hello, Word family. A special kudos to Sarah Lomax Reese and the producers and host of all our Word programs, and the Lomax family for keeping us grounded, for keeping us focused, for keeping us informed and connected during the last 17 years of 2020. I really, Reverend Talavaria, really want the audience to know at the beginning of 2021, treat yourself to the treat of buying a WURD membership. It's less than a quarter a day. That's less than a bag of chips. And we really, truly need to keep this platform going so that we can stay connected as we reimagine our community in 2021. I thank you so much. I am so disappointed because I knew the answer to the last question. I am so reminded, as Mr. Iglesias described the book, I'm so reminded of how I love so much Devil in a Blue Dress.
Oh, yeah. That was a Rollins book.
Yeah.
Yeah, same kind of writing, though, yeah.
I loved all of his books and just hungered for the next one. WURD has the same kind of talent in Solomon Jones, so we've got to hope that one of his books will be put in because it gives you the fabric and it gives you the personalities that his started in Los Angeles, having relocated from Houston, and each book brought you just so much more that you wanted to see about that group of characters and how they progressed. And so I am looking forward to this.
Well, I've got to contact Solomon. The last book that I interviewed of Solomon Jones's was The Dead Man's Wife, I think it was. The Dead Man's Wife, which was
quite a few that will engross you.
Let me tell you why I don't like Solomon, and that is he somehow or another he is able to be a great radio host, a great journalist, a great writer, a great husband, a great father, and still look good while he's doing it. And he just makes the rest of us look bad by comparison. So I just can't like him anymore. No, I'm only kidding. I love the guy. I mean, he just came in seamlessly and just became a great host, and he's a great, and he does it all, and he never seemed to be really breaking much of a sweat. But man, let me tell you, I know how hard he works. But let's see if you can win this bundle of books. Are you ready to try?
I'm crossing my hands. I'm going to try.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's standing in the batter's box, looking the pitcher right in the eyes, waiting to take a mighty swing. She is B from Delaware, trying to win a bundle of books from Defina's. In the beginning stages of our book club, D, I'm going to ask you the nickname of the character, the lead character of the book, not the title of the book, but he has another nickname that was given to him that he is known as throughout the book, and that is...
Now, you see, that's unfair.
We said that name again and again.
Because everyone in the community loved him despite his propensity for the Bible.
Yes.
And feeling sorry for him about his wife. It wasn't about his coat, was it? It was something about a coat.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's got it right. Let's give her a round of applause, please, for D from Delaware. His nickname, that was close enough, D. That was close. His nickname was Sport Coat.
Yeah.
And you did get it right. Because he had, now there are two things in the book. It says that he had, when he was younger, his mother, he had some problem with his jaw. And his mother went to one of those kind of folk healers who told him, don't call, for the next month, don't call him by his name. And she gave him the nickname Sport Coat because she worked in a company that made clothing. But then later on, he was called that because he used to always dress as a deacon in a sport coat. And so that was his name, Sport Coat. I mean, and I got to tell you, You really worked that one out. That was pretty good.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I am so glad that you were able to win these books, and I know everybody else is saying, "Dadgummit," because there are people lined up trying to win them, and we only have one bundle to give away today. I'm going to see if I can stretch some.
Yeah.
Is it? What was that you said, Eric?
Huh?
What'd you say, Eric? Did you say you found a second bundle?
I said ONE. Spell it out.
ONE. He says we only got one left. Is that what you said?
Something like yeah.
Hey, B, I want you to hold the line for us if you'd be so kind, so that we can get your information and we can get you this bundle from Defina's. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Press, and they specialize in books by people of color, for people of color, about the lives of people of color. Defina's books will be featured as a part of our every month book club recognition of the finest writing that you can find. Today, we talked, of course, about Deacon King Kong, and B just won our gift set from Defina's books. Hold the line for us, D, and thank you so much. For the rest of you who are calling, we can still talk about the book and some of the stuff that happened in the book. For example, I will tell you this, that the reason why he was called Deacon King Kong is that King Kong was the nickname of some white lightning, some bathtub liquor that was being sold around the projects. And for some reason or another, Deacon Cuffy Jasper Lampkin could not get enough of it. And he drank it and drank it and drank it. I won't tell you what effect it had on him and how his life ended up, but I will tell you that that's how he got the nickname, the third nickname, Deacon King Kong. The second one was Sport Coat, and then before that he had something. He even had something else. I mean, you know, in neighborhoods, nicknames are sort of a rite of passage. You can't come out of a neighborhood in the hood and not have a nickname. You know, for example, when I was coming up in the hood, I had a nickname that was reflective of how people saw me. They saw me as a movie actor. They looked at me and said, "That guy's he's handsome enough to be a movie actor." And they didn't want to call me Clark Gable, so they called me Dark Gable. Okay, all right. That was an attempt at humor. We're going to take a quick joke. When we come back, folks, those of you online, we will take your calls, and we'll open the phone lines to anything that you might wish to talk about. Well, to be honest with you, we only got room for a couple of calls, because coming along at 5:30, we will be presenting to you our second guest, a woman in the city of Philadelphia who has really demonstrated leadership in a variety of areas. Laurie Jones, I'll introduce her after our break, coming along at 5:30. Stay with us, folks. You're listening to 900 AM, 96.1 FM. This is Nick. Be back after this.
Have you heard about City Council's plan to build more affordable housing, repair existing homes, create jobs, and support small business? The Neighborhood Preservation Initiative will invest $400 million in Philly communities. Read about it at www.phlcouncil.com/NPI.
Livelihood, the new initiative from WURD Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
We've got delays on the Schuylkill Expressway tonight. Eastbound side, we're heavy Conchi curve out to Gladwin. Westbound, we back up through the construction zone, University Avenue to 30th. The left lane is blocked there until mid to late next month. 95 northbound heavy from the Vine Expressway to Girard Avenue. Then again, we've got some more heavy volume further northbound, Betsy Ross Bridge to Bridge Street. 95 southbound backing up through the construction zone, Cotman Avenue to Bridge, where we go from 4 lanes down to 3. Vine Expressway heavy on the westbound side, almost the entire stretch, 8th to the the Schuylkill Expressway. And we got some volume on the Boulevard northbound between Wissahickon and Broad Street. Watching an accident in Plymouth Township, Ridge Pike, southbound at the Blue Route 476. Report brought to you by Indeed.com. If you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed delivers quality candidates so you can focus on interviewing people with the right skills. Receive a $75 sponsored job credit when you upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply. And for more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. I'm Jason Lee with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship.
Tonight, clear and unseasonably cold, a low of 28 degrees. Tomorrow, the dry stretch continues, mostly sunny, a high in the mid-40s. Thursday, our warming trend starts. We head into the 50s with partly sunny skies. And by Friday, we're even warmer, up to 54 degrees. That's about 15 degrees above our average for this time of year. Saturday could be the end of our dry streak. There is a chance of morning showers with a high of 44 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at WURD. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. You're listening to Evening Words, hosted by Nick Taliaferro, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Indeed you are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages. Let's get to our final caller before we introduce our next guest, and I am really going to be pleased to do just that in a few moments. But first, Patrick in New Jersey. Patrick, thank you for calling and welcome to the program.
Hey, Nick, how you doing, man?
I'm good, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So I have to admit, you were right about the Impossible Burger. It was absolutely delicious. I went to a good restaurant, had one made, and I was bored.
Oh man, you know it's funny, Patrick, that you would say that, because I just went out and bought some more. And
where do you buy it? Where can you buy the actual Impossible Burger?
You know, at one point it was harder to find than hen's teeth, but now you can find it. I found it at Acme on sale for the cheapest price that I had seen it. You can find it at Trader Joe's. You can find it at Target. I believe you can find it at. I think you can find it at Targets. But I mean, I think I'm not sure about Brown ShopRite, but I'm going to check it. But it
I didn't see the ShopRite. They had the Beyond Burger, and the Beyond Burger don't taste the same as the Impossible Burger.
No, and the Beyond Burger is good. Don't get me right, but Impossible Burger is. I mean, it's almost like a cow talked to it for a long time and convinced it, you know.
I'm telling you, I you know, as I bit into it, I wanted to say you were wrong, but then I realized I had to call you and let you know you were right.
Man, it takes a real man to acknowledge it, but I got to tell you, man, it's. I mean, now there are a lot of people who are eating them there's a fast food restaurant that's serving them, and they're okay,
I tried
but
that
they don't.
Too. It was good there too.
Yeah, they're okay there, but they're really better. Say that again. Say that again, Patrick. I'm sorry.
I said I've had 3 of them in 3 days.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, well, yeah. I think we're gonna have to send you to a 12-step program of it. The folks, the folks at Impossible Burger will appreciate that. I mean, but what people don't realize is it used to be that folks who made vegetarian food or non-meat food, that they were doing it because, you know, for religious reasons or moral reasons. But the guys at Impossible Burger started making this product or started trying to create this product years ago, because their thinking was that to raise a pound of beef, to raise cattle as a food source, was an inefficient way to use the earth. They're environmentalists. They were saying that it takes so much water, so much power, so much space to raise a pound of beef, and for 1/10 of that, you can create a pound of protein substitute. Their trick was to figure out if they could make it taste like beef. And from your mouth to the others, what did it taste like to you?
Oh, it tastes like meat.
Yeah, man. Look.
And let me. The only thing is that the Impossible Burger was like $4 more than the other burger, though.
Now, you know, and I'm noticing that, and what happens is as it grows, it'll come down because, you know, it takes a lot to start production, to get company,
Sure.
you know, and so I'm noticing that the price is cheaper now than it was when I first started getting it. I used to get mine from a store owner, a restaurant owner, who would, I mean, I was almost like, I felt like some kind of junkie. I would have to go to the back door when nobody was watching, and he'd put it in a bag and all of that stuff, man. And, you know, but it, man, look, I am glad that you, first of all, had it, that you tasted it, and that you enjoyed it. Now they're coming up with a pork sausage patty that's completely vegetarian. Yeah, man.
I like it, man.
I will find out about it, and I will share it with you here.
I appreciate it, Nick. Have a good night.
All right, I appreciate you so much, Patrick. Thanks for calling in on that one. Yes, indeed. So there you have it, folks. The proof is in the pudding. And we ain't talking about pudding. We're talking about a hamburger that's not made out of hamburger. It's a protein substitute made by the good folks at Impossible Burger. We had them on. A couple of you folks won some of the product, and you were supposed to call me up and tell me what it tasted like. And some of you, I don't think either of our winners called. And for that, I'm going to pronounce a pox upon, well, not your house, a pox upon the left corner of your freezer if you don't call in and talk about it, okay? All right, I'm hoping that we can do just a little bit better than we have. All right, good people and bad people just as well. Time for us to shift gears ever so gently. There is an entity in the Philadelphia area that does more to relieve suffering through hunger than any other group that I know. That group is called Philabundance. Philabundance has been serving this region and beyond for years now by providing hunger relief for people in the 9 counties in southeastern Pennsylvania and South Jersey. Presently, Philabundance is helmed by a woman who has demonstrated a wide range of leadership all across the board in government, having served as the managing director of the city of Philadelphia, in education, having served as the chief of staff for Rutgers University in Camden, and also in local education, serving as the chief of external affairs for the school district of Philadelphia. And now she has brought her soul, her hands and her heart and her head to lead this great hunger relief agency, Philabundance. Please make welcome a woman that I happen to know and I'm proud to call a friend, Laurie Jones. Laurie, it's good to have you on at WURD.
Thank you so much, Nick. It is great to talk with you, and it's great to be back on WURD talking to the citizens of this region. Thanks so much, Nick.
It's a pleasure to have you, and I've got to tell you, you know, it's, even though I know you're younger than me, I've always, I hate to admit it.
Much.
Well, you didn't have to go there. I've always looked up to your ability to bring a level of conscientious leadership to whatever task that you've taken on. And I am so grateful that you took on the task of leading Philabundance, but it was not the normal thing that you normally did, which was, you know, the basic jockeying with hard facts and data and numbers and stuff like that. But this is almost a ministry. What led you to become the CEO of Philabundance?
I appreciate that question. I love that you also said ministry, and I definitely believe that this is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm called to be here at this moment. And as you mentioned, you talked about the various places that I've worked. You know that you and I had a chance to work together many moons ago in the street administration. This moment in time for me in Philabundance, I was pleased, honored, privileged to be given the opportunity to help people in our region get access to one of their most basic needs, and that's food. And I was particularly drawn to Philabundance for a few reasons. One was definitely because of COVID. Like everybody else who's listening, we were all kind of reeling with the challenges that pandemic brought and the economic crisis that came along with it. And knowing that our neighbors were making tough choices between paying rent and buying food, between, buying medicine and then putting healthy food on the tables for their kids. So thinking about that piece of the work. But also through this process, I learned about another aspect of Philabundance's work, and that is really addressing the root causes of poverty. Several years back, Philabundance made a commitment to say, we don't want to just feed the line, we want to shorten the line. We want to do what we can, partnering with other agencies, organizations, putting the people we serve first and helping them move from crisis to thriving. And as you can tell, that really is related to a variety of the work that I've done, but thinking about how do we come together as a community, empower people, address the systematic issues that lead to folks being food insecure in the first place. So that's why I'm here now.
Well, I mean, we're fortunate to have you there, and what most people don't realize is the case itself, the need itself. I did not know it until I read some of the talking points that were sent over, that Philadelphia is in the top 10 of U.S. cities facing food insecurity by residents. I mean, people don't think about that, and that 12% of the households in greater Philadelphia are food insecure. As a person who is a manager by experience, is there anything that causes Philadelphia to be so high on that list?
We know for years we have the dubious distinction of being the poorest big city. And you and your listeners and other folks and experts who participate in conversations at WURD have been talking about that. They've been talking about systematic racism, talking about just how capitalism as it's structured in this country hasn't supported particularly people of color. But interestingly, in the fall, you may recall that in the fall there's some new data came out that said that last year, so data from 2019, the year before, that the trend was moving in the right direction. So before COVID hit, even in Philadelphia, while we still were the poorest big city, we were starting to see people kind of creep out of poverty to rise up a little bit above it. And just as we started seeing that trend go in the right direction, COVID hit, and all of that slipped backwards. So as you mentioned, we find ourselves in this position. You gave some of the numbers. What's happening for us here in the city of Philadelphia and in the region, we serve southeastern Pennsylvania and South Jersey, and what we see across the country is that up to 60% more people are finding themselves food insecure. So you've seen pictures of the lines. There's why, 60% more people. And troubling as well is that 40% of people who are in line are there for the first time. So we have our friends, neighbors who are for the first time in their lives unable to feed their families directly without this kind of assistance. So you're right, the numbers are startling. So many people that we know are finding themselves in this tough position.
We're speaking with Laurie Jones, who's the CEO of Philabundance, which is one of the nation's largest hunger relief agencies serving the 9 counties in southeastern Pennsylvania and southern New Jersey. And we're talking about the plight of people who are facing hunger as a real day-to-day issue. Sometimes when we relieve people of suffering like this and we give them food or we give them money or something, it creates dependency and a lack of empowerment. But Philabundance has done some innovative things to create empowerment, even as they help people, like the program Harvest 2020. Can you tell us a little bit more about that program that actually empowers people to help others and to also empowers people to help themselves?
Absolutely. I'm going to talk about another great Philadelphia and Pennsylvania institution, and that is the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, or PHS. Many of us know PHS because we know about the flower show that they put on for years. Many of us also know, if you know about community gardens across the city and the region, PHS has quietly supported those gardens. And so with the onslaught of COVID in the spring, what PHS said is, let's empower everyday people who are gardeners in neighborhoods across the city of Philadelphia, either for their home gardens or for the community gardens, the lots they co-garden with their friends and neighbors, giving them the tools they need, from everything from seedlings to like shovels, raised beds, so they can grow healthy food, and then definitely use some of that for themselves, but any excess produce, any extra harvest would then be donated to food banks. And so since its inception in the spring of last year, I think something like 44,000 pounds of food have been distributed from individual gardeners in our region to food banks in our region.
Wow. I mean, you don't think of Philadelphia as a place where produce is actually grown. You know, you don't think of this region, especially when you get into some of the neighborhoods, but these gardens where people are growing food are right in the heart of neighborhoods where you see a lot of asphalt and a lot of concrete.
That's exactly right. And there are people that have done research that has said that green space, wherever you can put it, is going to help us have a healthier community and improve our quality of life. So people are now, talking about the social determinants of health. What are those things that are leading to our communities being less healthy? And one of them is if there's a lack of access to green space, if there aren't parks in your neighborhood, that's going to lead you to be less healthy. And so organizations like PHS have really been working with community members, empowering community members wherever possible to ensure that there's grass and trees and gardens. They can grow fruit and vegetables throughout the neighborhood. So you guys know, you drive around Philadelphia, right? Yeah. And you'll see these pockets where there will be gardens popping up.
You know, the thing is, and I see these gardens, and you know, you often think, well, isn't that cute? There's someone trying to act like they're in North Carolina or somewhere. But my understanding is that Harvest 2020 has helped to inspire gardening in the lives of 10,000 people, that you have 10,000 volunteer gardeners who are growing these thousands of pounds of, wow.
That's exactly right. And one of the things that folks at PHS did, they, went around and asked folks kind of what they were doing, what they liked, surveyed people, and found that 70% of the people they surveyed were involved in gardening in some way. And so I think there's this myth out there. I think, historically in this country, people of color especially have had relationships with land. Those have been fraught, we know. But we have, over the course of the generations that we've been here in this country, we really lived off of the land and lived in the land. And as you think about what it means to be green and what it means to think about being sustainable, often those leaders don't necessarily look like us, but the reality is they are us. And so I think that's one of the things that PHS also tapped into, and it has tapped into with this community garden program, particularly in the city of Philadelphia, that there are diverse populations who are using that agency, kind of growing for themselves. They're also able to grow organic food that's healthier. They're also able to grow food that's culturally appropriate. And so if you look at gardens across the city of Philadelphia that PHS has supported, you will see folks in Asian and Asian American communities growing a particular type of produce, or folks in a Latino community growing a particular type of produce, and same in African American communities. So I think there's really something, I think we, particularly as African Americans, need to reclaim agriculture and gardening, because it definitely is something that's been a part of our cultures for generations.
Folks, we're going to take a quick pause, and when we come back, we'll talk more about how Philabundance and PHS is working to bring fresh food and produce to neighbors just like you, how you can become involved. And of course, if you keep listening to Laurie Jones, you'll run out and you'll buy yourself some overalls, put a sprig of alfalfa between your teeth, and you'll start farming too. All of that and more when we take this break and come back and continue our conversation with the Chief Executive Officer of Philabundance, Laurie Jones, here on WURD AM 996.1 FM. This is Evening Words with Nick, and we'll be back after this.
Hey, WURD family. Our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
This Martin Luther King Jr. vignette is brought to you by Pico, Keystone Plus, Premium Nutrition Meals, and JD's Auto Body and Painting. The immortal words of Dr. King.
I accept the Nobel Prize for Peace at a moment when 22 million Negroes of the United States are engaged in a creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice. I accept this award on behalf of a civil rights movement which is moving with determination. I'm mindful that only yesterday in Birmingham, Alabama, our children crying out for brotherhood were answered with fire hoses, snarling dogs, and even death. I am mindful that only yesterday in Philadelphia, Mississippi, young people seeking to secure the right to vote were brutalized and murdered. I am mindful that debilitating and grinding poverty afflicts my people and chains them to the lowest rung of the economic ladder. Therefore, I must ask why this prize is awarded to a movement which is beleaguered and committed to unrelenting struggle, to a movement which has not yet won the very peace and brotherhood which is the essence of the Nobel Prize.
This Martin Luther King Jr. vignette was brought to you by Pico, powering communities, Keystone Plus, premium nutrition meals, and JD's Auto Body and Painting for all your auto body and detailing needs. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Heavy volume on the Vine Expressway tonight. It's westbound from 8th all the way to the Schuylkill Expressway. 76 westbound backs up in the construction zone. University Avenue to 30th. Left lane blocked there till mid to late next month. Schuylkill eastbound stop and go 476 the Blue Route to Gladwin. Then again Girard Avenue to Spring Garden Street. 95 northbound seeing heavy traffic between the Betsy Ross Bridge and Bridge Street. We got some volume on 95 southbound through the construction zone between Coppin Avenue and Bridge. That's where we go from 4 lanes down to 3 lanes. Blue Route 476 stop and go southbound between Germantown Pike and Conshohocken. And some actually crashed just off the Blue Route, Ridge Pike southbound at 476 off to the side. Report brought to you by CVS. It pays to fill your prescriptions at CVS. In fact, you could earn up to $50 in extra bucks each year just for filling prescriptions. That's healthier made easier. Visit CVS today. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states. See cvs.com/RX rewards or the pharmacy for details. For more traffic info, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jason Lee with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship.
Tonight, clear and unseasonably cold, a low of 28 degrees. Tomorrow, the dry stretch continues, mostly sunny, a high in the mid-40s. Thursday, our warming trend starts. We head into the 50s with partly sunny skies. And by Friday, we're even warmer, up to 54 degrees. That's about 15 degrees above our average for this time of year. Saturday could be the end of our dry streak. There is a chance of morning showers with a high of 44 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at WURD. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. You're listening to Evening Words, hosted by Nick Taliaferro, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been hearing some dire reports about people being hungry, not only in the Philadelphia area, but all over the country. Philadelphia being listed as one of the top 10 cities where people experience threats through hunger. Today, we're talking about the solution with the CEO of Philabundance and some of the partnering that they're doing with the Philadelphia Horticultural Society in helping people to help others through their special programs that get people to growing produce. Welcome back to the conversation, CEO of Philabundance, Laurie Jones. Laurie, thank you for staying with us and welcome back.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you. People are listening and they're recognizing the extent of the problem, and they're also recognize the power behind helping to create solutions. If people said, look, I'd like to become involved with this, there's a lot of open space around my church, my building, my school, or wherever. How could they become connected with Philabundance or PHS and learn how to be a part of that force of thousands of people who are learning how to garden productively to help ease hunger?
Absolutely. I would encourage your listeners to call the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, or PHS, at 215-988-1698 to find out more about Harvest 2020, this movement, and how they can participate, or to visit www.phsonline.org. So reach out to the Horticultural Society to find out about, one, if there's already a community garden in your neighborhood that you get connected to, or if you wanted to start one in your neighborhood, or even start one in your yard, on your porch. They can help you with container gardening, resources, seedlings, all of that. So I encourage you to contact PHS 215-988-1698 to join this movement.
988-1698. For those individuals who are running around looking for a pen when she said it the first time, there it is the second time. Philadelphia Horticultural Society is not just about pretty flowers anymore. It's about stuff that you can grow and that you can eat, or that maybe other people can eat. You know, their Philabundance does so much work. You know, people see the trucks going around, and you know, they just figure the trucks just grow out of the ground or fall from outer space. Tell us a little bit more about how Philabundance works, and if people wanted to connect with Philabundance and to partner with you in other projects, what they can do.
Absolutely. So Philabundance, we're known as a hunger relief agency. A big part of the work we do, you've heard about, you've seen it now, when people need, fell in hard times, need access to food now, they can visit one of our 350 pantries or food cupboards in this region. So we have 350 agency partners. That could be a church, could be a community center, where people can get access to food. That's the work we do, where we're feeding the line, ensuring that people right now have access to food. But we also work to shorten the line. We also know that, we can give people that help for today, but wouldn't it be so much better if we can empower individuals, families, and communities to have livable wage jobs, to have all the resources they need to become self-sufficient? And we do that work in a number of ways. One that is incredibly exciting, and I'm surprised most people don't know about it, Nick. For 20 years, we've operated a workforce development program called the Philabundance Community Kitchen, or PCK. And we, as we say, we teach people knife skills as well as life skills. It's a program, we have no barriers to entry. It's okay if you're a returning citizen. It's okay if you haven't finished high school or even middle school. And we run through a 16-week program and teach people everything they need to know around the culinary arts. And an incredible percentage of those folks have graduated and gone on to keep jobs. And we provide additional coaching assistance for at least 2 years after that program. So that's a great way that we're working to empower individuals and families so they themselves can become self-sufficient.
You know, the extent of Philabundance is staggering. 350 partners, and then educational programs, and you're delivering food to people. It says here that you delivered more than 26 million pounds of food through your network of partnerships, and you serve more than 90,000 people each week. You know, ministry is good, serving people is good, but organizing and administering this must really take a lot of energy and time. What is the most challenging part of managing an organization like Philabundance?
Well, let me start off by telling you that those were our numbers pre-COVID. And so a few minutes ago, I shared with you how much we've seen an increase in people who are food insecure. And so just from March of 2020 through September of 2020, we distributed, for that short period of time, 30 million pounds of food. So what that means is, like you said, we normally in a given year would distribute 26 million pounds. Well, last year that was about 52 million. And we're on track to do the same again this year. And that's because of the staggering need, and we're working to respond to that. The challenges is what I'm sure everybody would expect, responding to COVID and being able to ensure that we're serving in the right way and in a safe way. So following CDC guidelines, ensuring that our staff, volunteers, and the people we serve are safe. The other challenges we found are just accessing the food. Think back to March and April. If you were going to a grocery store trying to order food online, you realized it was hard to find staples. It was hard to find rice, black-eyed peas in your grocery store. And if you did find those items, they were much more expensive than they had been back in February. And so there were challenges with the food supply chain. And just like we saw that as individuals, at Philabundance, at that level, we saw it as well. So it was harder for us to get food, and it cost more So we needed additional resources. And then we had to work in a way that was safe, social distancing and the like. So those are among the challenges that we really had to work through in order to be able to reach those numbers of getting 50 million pounds out to people in our community that needed it.
You know, a lot of people don't like to acknowledge that they need help, especially when it's so basic as hunger. If people have a hunger issue, but they don't want to necessarily go and tell their pastor, or they may not want to go stand in a line somewhere initially, is there a phone number where they can call and say, hey, listen, I'm just experiencing hunger right now?
Absolutely. And I'll let people know there is a Why Hunger hotline, and people can call or text this number for help. The number is 1-800-548-6479 or 1-800-5-HUNGRY. There's also a Why Hunger website, whyhunger.org, that people can access. The other thing I'll let everybody know is that for most of these programs that we're talking about in these pantries, there are no barriers to entry. What that means is people can come up and get food. We've all seen, and I think we'll see it on King Day of Service as well, we've seen where people have driven up, pop their trunk, and do the truck to trunk where the food just goes right in, or people are in line and they're getting boxes or bags of food, produce, et cetera. What we're seeing during COVID is a lot of that's happening without people having to necessarily show ID. And so in some cases, and I heard this actually in another WURD interview a couple weeks back, some churches are saying to their parishioners, come, we have food here on a Saturday, please come get the food. If you're getting it because your neighbor needs it, great. If you're getting it because your elderly neighbor needs this food, we're fine with that. And so the reality is we know that people are not trying to game the system. We know that people are really going to only access the food if they need it, or if they're accessing it and they don't need it, then we know that they're generous enough to make sure that person who can't get around will get that food. So please visit the Why Hunger website. Please call that number, 1-800-5-HUNGRY, and please visit the pantries. There is everything we're doing is in a way that's dignified. There is no shame in that, and we know that you're either getting it for yourself and for your kids or for your neighbor. And we're just grateful that people are willing to step up and do that to ensure that people have access to the food they need.
Now, when you say visit the pantries, are these places that will allow them to come and pick up items? Do they have to make appointments or?
So most of the pantries, the 350 that we work with across the region, don't require appointments. They do advertise the hours that they're open. And so pantries, and many of them are operated by churches across the region or religious organizations. They will say on a Tuesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock that you can come up and access food. And so when you visit the Why Hunger website or call, you'll get that information about when those pantries are open.
I want to share with everybody that my church participates as one of the pantries for Phil Abundance. And in the old days, when you would get food as a part of an emergency resource during crisis times, you didn't know where the food came from. Sometimes it would be in bags you couldn't identify. But the groceries that Phil Abundance gives, it's just like you went to the supermarket somewhere. Am I correct in saying that, Laurie?
That's right. And one of the things that the pantries have done, I mentioned the word dignity a little bit earlier, and we work with great agency partners, and they work to make sure that that experience is as dignified as possible. Now, some of that did change during COVID, and I'll share with you. I was visiting a pantry in Camden a couple of weeks ago. What normally happens pre-COVID is they set up what looks essentially like a grocery store inside of an old church. And so people can come in with their cart and pick the items that they want. And how wonderful is it that people get to choose what it is they're going to feed their families. This church, amazingly, on a cold Wednesday that I visited, the day it was going to snow, basically set that up outside. And so you saw the line of people coming, and people could pick if they wanted the tuna, if they wanted the salmon, if they wanted rice. And so they were really able to pick and have choice, which I think is a great way of making sure that people kind of have dignity and get to choose what they want. And so a number of pantries are doing that. The reality, though, Nick, is with COVID, things did change. And so what you saw more and more of is pantries putting boxes of food together, a mix of produce, a mix of dry goods, rice, beans, et cetera, pastas, sauces, applesauce, those kinds of things, and giving it. And so Unfortunately, one of the things that happened with COVID is that many times people had a little bit less choice just because we had to operate in a way that ensured that people were distributing the food safely.
That's exactly how it is at our church. We call it our grocery window. But I tell you, before COVID hit, we would turn a section of the church into what looked like a couple of aisles at a supermarket. And our folks serve energetically, passionately, and compassionately. And at the source of it all is Philabundance. And folks, you've been listening to the woman who's been entrusted with the oversight of this great agency that relieves hunger for people throughout the Philadelphia area and the 9-county Philadelphia area. Philabundance is there to serve the needs of the people, and they are relieving hunger one person at a time. The last word is yours. And Laurie, I want to thank you so much for all that you do and all that you are. But the last directive, the last word is yours. Whatever you would like to share with the people.
Well, I appreciate that. I am sharing with people gratitude. I thank you so much. Nick, I thank you so much to your listeners, to WURD, folks in the community. People have been so incredibly generous. As you mentioned, the people that are running pantries, they do it selflessly. People have also been generous with donations from $5 to $50, and that helps us do this work. And so I'm leaving everybody with this message of gratitude. We're so grateful. If you'd like to get involved with Philabundance directly, visit our website, give us a call. We'd love to have you as part of our network. But we are just grateful for all that people do to support our work, and frankly grateful to have been entrusted, as you said, and being able to serve. It is indeed an honor and a privilege.
It's an honor to have you, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to one of the better leaders in the Philadelphia area. Notice I didn't say one of the better female leaders. I simply said one of the better leaders. She is Laurie Jones, and she serves as the CEO of Philabundance, having served in a variety of capacities throughout the Philadelphia region. Laurie, thank you for all that you do, and I'm looking forward to the next time that we get a chance to talk.
Thank you so much, Nick. So appreciate you. Take care.
Talk to you later. Take care of yourself. Hey, folks, I mean this sincerely. You know, I've known Laurie since 2001, and she's one of those people who kind of teaches you the ethic of hard work just by watching her. She works hard, and she works compassionately, and she's ethical. You know, I'm telling you, that's a great mix to have in people, and we're grateful that she has allowed herself to be led to serve in the capacity that she is serving now as the CEO of Philabundance. Great organization doing great work. All right, when we come back, we're going to switch gears and talk about a topic that might be a little surprising to you. There's a shortage of something going around, and I do mean something that's really life-giving. Wait till I tell you what it is. Right here on your favorite conversation station, 900 AM, 96.1 FM. I'm Nick Taliaferro. This is Evening Words. We'll be back after this.
Happy New Year, Philly. It's sincerely Sarita. The 2020 pandemic blew the roof off of life as we know it and forced us to make radical decisions once thought impossible. Many parents and grandparents turned to the option of a public cyber education. In thousands of instances, they sought assistance from the one true pioneer and industry leader in public cyber education, Commonwealth Charter Academy. Visit ccaeducate.me and exercise your right to choose a safe, hassle-free, student-focused learning environment your kids deserve. CCA delivers elite online instruction streamed directly to the safety and comfort of your living room. They provide a laptop and headset along with internet connectivity that includes financial assistance, all at no cost to families. CCA has been the gold standard in school choice for nearly 20 years. Visit ccaeducate.me and ring in 2021 with a 5-star learning experience. Again, that's ccaeducate.me.
Keeping you informed. As a community service, WURD Radio and the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium wants to keep you informed about where you can get no-cost, barrier-free COVID-19 testing this week. These locations offer free flu shots and coronavirus testing. Thursday, January 14th from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. at Mastery Charter School Pickett Campus, 5700 Wayne Avenue. And Friday, January 15th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at Deliverance Church, 2001 West Lehigh Avenue. Stay informed and stay well with WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at WURD TV. Black Talk Media. You're listening to Evening Words, hosted by Nick Taliaferro, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
All right, good people and bad people as well. We're welcoming everybody here at Talk Central, WURD 96.1, 900 AM. Final hour of Evening Words with Nick, and that means I've only got 60 minutes. Make that now 59 minutes to spend some time speaking with you. Coming along at the 7 o'clock hour, you check in with Sincerely Sarita. Sarita Martin comes your way asking you to save space for a little time with her. That's the name of the program, Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. She's so sincere. Trust me, not like me. She's really so sincere. Coming along at 9 o'clock, of course, it's the man, the myth, the legend himself, Reverend Al Sharpton, asking you to keep it real, keep it real. And if you don't keep it real, he will tell you to keep on walking. Just stay with WURD throughout your listening day. We deposit you early in the morning at the doorstep of the Power Hour, where the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler comes your way in the presence of Bishop Dwayne Reister, as they like to say it. The two clergy get together, and let me tell you something. These are not your daddy's clergy people. I love the way Dwayne Royster ends his program every day. Dwayne, you're so colorful. And Mark Kelly Tyler, of course, is one of the most vibrantly alive ministers that I have ever met, that I've ever known. Okay, he'll be a part of our Martin Luther King Day celebration coming along next week on Monday, when we have our panel discussion with religious leaders in the city of Philadelphia. And then, preceding that, we will talk nationally to individuals standing in the legacy of Martin Luther King. We'll talk about ministerial, clerical activism and what it looks like today. That's going to be the part of the program that I will add to it as a person who is an ordained minister, and having been an ordained minister since I've been doing this too long. I was ordained in 1986, but I've been pastoring since 1980, the only job I ever thought that I would do. And now it's coming to an end. I'm getting old. Well, time to get to the final topic of the day. I told you there was a shortage, and Eric, I need your help on this. There's a shortage, a life-giving shortage that people need in order for life to thrive. What do you think I'm talking about, Eric? If
Probably
I might ask you.
Beyond Burger related.
It is not. No, it is not. And it is Impossible Burger, my friend.
Oh, my apologies.
Hey, wait a minute. You made the Impossible Burger too, right? And you liked it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good.
And now, did Desiree like Impossible Burger?
Yeah, we have that as a definite alternative. Like, you know, if all the world's beef, I guess, went away, that would be, wouldn't be missed.
Yeah. You need to understand, people don't realize that cows, just cow flatulence, is a pollutant to the atmosphere, and cow, these animals, when they do what they do, at the end of the day, and it washes into streams, that creates problems. But right now, as you're breathing, Eric, you're breathing in cow flatulence. You didn't know that, did you?
I heard you. Keep it pushing.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath right now.
No.
Go ahead, take a deep breath. No, come on. No, you like your steak. You like your brisket. Take a deep breath and
what makes you think I'm walking around here eating that good? That stuff's expensive.
Well, I'm here to tell you that if people switch to protein alternatives, the next time you take a deep breath, it won't taste like cow, because you won't have so much cow flatulence going into your nostrils. But no, this is not a foodstuff. But there's a shortage of something else that people need, and we need it in order for life to thrive. What do you think I'm talking about?
Water, probably.
Not quite. You're getting that's close. That's close. But think about it. Something that you would go to the hospital for, and you need it, and there's a shortage, and if you have a shortage, then you just won't have as much life as you used to. Think about something at a hospital.
Applesauce? The hospital applesauce? No. The hospital. Those juice packets, apple juice.
The apple juice package, close. Doesn't come like that. But most people who are not Eric Nixon would talk about the donation of blood shortages.
Yeah, that was my third choice.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I just wanted to set you up on that, oh clever one.
Well, it still doesn't make it not my third choice.
Well, you're right about that. It says third wrong choice. Yes, that's about that. But what there is a shortage of during this pandemic, for some reason or another, people have been home more. And a lot of individuals who are at home are finding that they're having difficulty having children. And so they're turning to a normal source of child production, which is to go to sperm banks. And there's been a run on the banks. And somehow or another, because of the pandemic, people are not going to make donations as often as... People, I mean, you can't do this online. You got to go to in order for this kind of donation, you can't hit a few keystrokes and make your donation over the internet. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You have to be, you have to take it to the bank. There are not as many people taking it to the bank, and now there is an absolute shortage. And folks, if you can't listen to this, then you're just not a grown-up. There's an absolute shortage of sperm that is available for people who wish to be parents. Now, I'm talking about sperm shortages in places that are well regulated and that adhere to all of the safety factors needed to have a responsibly run business where the people who donate sperm are medically checked and where their histories are confirmed, so forth and so on. Those places are running out of product. I'm sorry to have to tell you that. And a lot of people are saying, where will I go in order to get this thing that I need so that life might continue? You'd be surprised at how many people actually use donors in order to become impregnated. Now, that has opened up, as in many other cases when things are in short supply through legitimate means, that has opened up, and I don't like to use the term, but a black market for, well, the product, for want of a better term. And there are individuals, now this is the part, and this is, fellas, I need your help on this one. Realizing that there is a shortage of product, there are certain men, certain fellas, certain guys, certain gentlemen who are willing to make up the shortage. Now, this is not necessarily through regulated means, but people are getting a little bit desperate now. And I'm telling you, this is not, I'm not joking. This is an actual news story that's in several different places. There are people who just are in need. They need this product so that they can become pregnant and have children. A lot of for whatever reason, a lot of families don't have it. And look, it's just, hey, what can I tell you?
It's not funny to necessarily joke about it, because on the one side it's just that kind of conversation. What time is it? 6:10.
Mm-hmm.
To not talk about that on live radio, but at the same time that's a real conversation of infertility.
Infertility is a real thing, and so it's look, and the word of sperm. Let's be, it's
scientifically
sperm.
right. I'm immature right now.
Well, I mean, it's something that we don't talk about often, but let's face it, all of us get here because of sperm.
I got here through the stork. I don't know how you got here.
Well, I came through a cabbage patch, but besides you and I, all of these other common people out there were produced through the impregnation of a person where sperm hit an egg, fertilized it, and then that egg was carried full term. and produced a child through either cesarean section or through vaginal birth. And let's get serious about it. But now here's the question. Now this is where the discussion comes. There are a bunch of guys who realize that there's a shortage, and some of them are eager to fill the shortage. Some for this reason, and fellas, this is where I want you to line up. I want to know whether or not you guys would be willing to be a donor. Some want to be donors, and one guy said this. He said, somehow or another, I feel better knowing that I have contributed to the human race by replicating myself. Now, they don't want to be fathers, per se. They don't want to be fathers as far as being accountable through a relationship with the mother or accountability to the child, but they want to make the donation. They feel good about knowing that somewhere out there, beneath the velvet sky, someone's thinking of them. Somewhere out there where dreams do come true. Wait a minute, wrong song. But there are people who just want to be a donor. That's one. Number two, there are some people who realize that there's money to be made and they don't mind contributing their sperm to make money. Now, those are two categories right there. Number one, people who just feel the need or the desire to know that they have replicated themselves somewhere out there. They don't want to, they don't want to be, taking them out to play catch or, waiting for her to come home after a date when she's 15 or 16 or 17. They just want to make the contribution. There are other people out there who do it because they make money. And a lot of college students have been doing this for a while. And then last but not least, there is group number three. These are individuals who will make the donation, but they are unwilling to make the donation for artificial insemination. They will only make the donation if it is through direct insemination. Perhaps I should explain to you what I mean by that. In other words, there's no middleman. Some of you still are not getting what I'm saying. They don't want to be the father, quote unquote. They are not trying to be the husband or the mate, but they want to make sure that there is physical contact that allows them to make their deposit. Is there anybody out there who still is not getting it? Because if
I'm trying to see this through myself. I don't need no help. It was open. It was there. I'm sorry.
You can't have an academic discussion with people from Hampton because they go there with you. Let me just ask you, and then we'll get to the phone lines. 215-634-8065. 215-634-8065. Fellas in particular, but ladies as well. I'll start off by asking the person closest to me right now, that is my producer. Would you be willing to make a donation so that another person might have the benefit, maybe a couple would have the benefit of being able to have a child that they would not have were it not for your donation? Would you be willing to do that?
My decision is on the table. I don't.
Wait a minute. It's on the table. What table is it on? Because sometimes I put my lunch on that table.
You remember that other table? You remember your desk? No, I'm kidding. See, look at that. You did that yourself.
I did that one. Okay, I messed up that one. Okay.
You did. I'm not sure. That's a deep conversation to have.
It is a very serious conversation, even though we're joking. To relax the mood some. Would you make? I mean, there are people depending on other people. Look, we do it with blood, and sometimes we do it with like liver. You can part of your liver. You can cut off part of your liver, put it in somebody else. It'll grow. You can keep yours, and they can grow part of it. We do it with kidneys.
You ever walk up to somebody and go, "Hey, my blood is inside of you. I'm keeping you alive."
I tell you, you say that to the wrong person, man. You're gonna be looking up at the sky from a prone position. fellas, I want to know if that's something that you would do. 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's get the conversation started. Not sure if we are all, if our caller wants to talk about this, but this is out there right now. 215-634-8065. Woody and Winfield, you are up. Welcome to the show, my friend, and thank you for your call.
Wow, I'm telling you, we went from abundance to abundance, huh?
You were holding on to that one, weren't you, Woody?
That Nick is really something else. I'll tell you, from the barbershop to the pulpit there. Anyway, we used to have a ball with you in here, man. And when I hear you on the air, it brings back those old days.
Oh, man, those are fun. Your brothers, man, I tell you.
Everybody in here, you know, my brother Bernie, he passed now, but...
No, I did not know that.
You didn't know that, Nick?
No.
Yeah, Bernie.
Oh, man, that hurts my heart,
I
man.
know, man. I know. That was my boy. I think about him every day. He used to get on my nerves, and I like.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Now you're getting me choked up here, but I kind of wait for him, and I understand that certain things are just natural, and no matter how long you've been with someone, my pop had 10 kids, so when you were talking about having kids, I thought about my dad and how we all stayed in that same house, and I never moved. So once I grew up and understood just how blessed I was, never to have to move out of the house till it was time to leave to go and get married and, and go on and do your
the
thing,
same for me. I never left we lived in the same house until I went away to college, and it was years after that that my mother moved out of that home. Yeah,
and this is what gets me with gentrification. There's so many people in blocks that same thing has happened to, and now they can't pay the tax. It's got to be some way to make an adjustment. If these inner city schools didn't train the people, how can you be expected to earn that kind of money that the rich people that are coming in gentrifying you out of your neighborhood? So it just turns the whole thing.
But there are programs they're programs that are supposed to provide relief.
No. Listen. Those programs only protect one house, and that's the house you're in. You and I know that back in those days, it wasn't that long ago, in the 50s and 40s, you couldn't get your family member to get a hotel if they were coming from down south up here. They wouldn't allow you to have it. So you had to have another house for your family members. This was part of our culture. Nobody talks about that. So if you got more than one property, in many cases, and inner city people do, they had that for their family members. But you're not going to get none of these politicians to talk about that.
I didn't realize
we need
that.
an adjustment on those taxes that will relate itself with how we were educated. We didn't get the proper education in those inner cities. Now that they want the area, they gentrify you out. How do you get out? Because they pump the prices up so high you can't pay for your taxes.
Oh yeah, and that happens. I did not realize. First of all, I didn't realize about people having a couple of houses. I thought, everybody.
No, just, you had to have somewhere for your family to stay.
It's called the basement.
Well, that maybe been you probably at a bigger house in some of our houses where I come from.
Tiny row house in North Philadelphia.
Yeah. Okay, so then look, I'm just telling you, my dad, and my grandparents, everybody, we would all have a house, and everybody would take care of it in case somebody couldn't make it, and they had to stay in that house for a while. They got on their feet. That's just the way our father raised us. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this issue of sperm, since that's what you're talking about. The issue that I see here, and I'll just ask you the question, you're not supposed to waste that, are you?
Now,
hold on now, Reverend.
I hear people say that. I hear people say it.
It's in the good book.
No,
that's a sin, isn't it? So you would have to go back to the guy that says what he wants to do is make sure it's straight up the way it's supposed to be. It's not
no pun intended on the straight up.
I can tell you that if you got a shortage, it's probably a black and
white.
No
pun on the shortage.
Not on the black side.
No, well, no. It's shorter on the black side because black men are not willing to make the donations.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe they're definitely connected with nature, but I think it's the best way. Like I said, you're not supposed to waste it. Stranger things can happen when you let parts of yourself, because that is still you, And you're not supposed to waste it. So I'll leave it at that. Maybe you can tell me what scripture that's in the book.
It's in
stop up here.
Genesis 38. But let me just ask the question: would that be something that you would be willing to do, to make a donation of your own sperm so that someone else, apart from you, separate from you, could raise a child?
It's called mating. It happens.
No, I mean, I'm talking.
I know what you're saying, to do it outside of that.
But it's not mating. I mean, there's no mating.
What I'm saying, I understand that. What I'm saying to you is that's the only real way that you're supposed to do that.
Okay, so you're saying that anything other than a situation where there is
artificial insemination is artificial. It told you what it was.
It's artificial. So that the answer, I am assuming, is that is not something that you would feel comfortable doing. I get you.
Only because I'm trying to follow nature. The nature of things tells you what to do, Nick. You know that.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it that way. I mean, now, here's something else.
That's only because you were being devilish, Nick.
No. Think about it like this. I'm in the hospital. I mean, I had a surgery, and for some reason or another, they couldn't stop me from bleeding. Were it not for the fact that other people gave me their blood, I could have died. And it is not natural for you to give me blood. The Bible says that there's some religions that won't allow people.
That's exactly right.
But I think it's okay for you to donate your blood to me.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. There's a whole bunch of things that in this country we have, it's called capitalism. We have created all kinds of stuff. And one of the things is I watch people go through it every day. There's all kinds of disorders and diseases way before COVID that happen. And a lot of people, when you watch your programs at night, what are they selling? They're selling all kinds of drugs. Oh, just use it. But by the way, your nose can fall off, your ears can fall off, you could die, that kind of stuff. But
so you wouldn't donate blood either, would he?
Listen, I just told you, religiously, in my heart, that is something that I don't see. I don't see doing that.
Hey, look, and man, I am the poster boy for people have the right for differing opinions. I'm just very grateful that the people who donated that blood when I needed it, it was there.
That's great, and you could live. But if it's time for you to die, I'm talking about natural things. You got to let nature do its job sometimes. And sometimes I understand that it's not the right thing to go against science. But if you think of nature, it seemingly works out better, even as far as the cows. The gas... When you were talking about that
breathing in that flatulence,
fresh air, because they gas up the entire atmosphere with all the stuff that they're doing, and they put in all these antibiotics and other drugs that help to also make the atmosphere sick. So it's a bunch of stuff going on unnatural, Nick. We're going to get back to the natural sooner or later. So I'm going to get off and let somebody else get on, Nick.
Hey, Woody, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much.
See you, Nick. We miss you,
got
man.
it.
We miss you.
Hey, it's good to be back, man. I've got to show up. I'm telling you, time has not been my friend. I've got to find time to do some things. I'll be out and about early tomorrow helping the good folks at our folks have a wonderful lunch program stopping through there, and the good folks at the Dornsife Center that is on Haverford on Spring Garden Street they're helping to make sure that people receive some food and some meals. But Woody referred to, and we'll take a quick break in a moment, and the phone lines are still open at 215-634-8065. Woody referred to a story in the Bible about a man by the name of Onan. Now, this is the story. Here's the context of the story. There was a biblical law that said that if my brother was married and his wife had no children, then it would be my responsibility to go into his wife, my deceased brother's wife, and impregnate her so that she might have children in his name. And the reason they did that is because that was the only way ownership would transpire. Women could not own. It's just a part of the society back then. And so you had to have children, normally, a man-child, so that ownership could happen and the person's name would not be lost in society. This man named Onan had a brother. I believe the brother's name was and he died, and the wife said to Onan that you have to do the work of a kinsman and impregnate me so that I might have a child who will not be your child, but will be your brother's child by law. Well, Onan did not want to do this, and so while he went into his wife and enjoyed connubial bliss, intimate relations, for want of a more technical term, he would withdraw from that. I'm talking Bible now, folks, so don't get your undies in a knot here. He would withdraw from the relationship before there would be the presence of semen and allow it to spill upon the ground. And the Bible says that God killed him for that. Now, there's a whole lot to talk about when it comes to the language that the Bible uses in certain situations. And people derive from that that God will kill you if you allow your semen to spill upon the ground. Therefore, I need to find a willing depository for it. And that's where people get that from. But that is not talking about letting your semen spill on the ground. It's talking about being disobedient and selfish, because this man did not want a child that was his to be raised in somebody else's name. That's what that story was about. Oh man, it's really deep. It's in Genesis 38. So the question remains, fellas, would you donate your sperm to assist somebody to have children? There's a shortage, and I'm wondering, and like Woody said, it must not be black people, but black people are very slow to make that donation. And no, they do not have drive-thrus. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and continue the conversation with you right here on your favorite conversation station. A little bit behind time. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. onWURD 2020 in Black. Check out the latest edition of the onWURD podcast, where WURD President and CEO Sarah Lomax Reese takes a look back at the racial justice uprisings around the nation in 2020. onWURD 2020 in Black. Download today wherever you listen to podcasts or visit wordradio.com. onWURD 2020 in Black was produced with support from Resolve Philly, which provides ground for journalistic initiatives that challenges our industry to be more equitable, collaborative, and based in community voices and solutions. WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at ForWord. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. You're listening to Evening Words, hosted by Nick Taliaferro, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Now, folks, I know you're out there, and I know that you are able to wrap your heads around a discussion of this level of maturity. I am invoking, I am provoking you to answer this question: would you do it? And why would you not? I mean, now what he said is it's against nature. He says the word says it itself. Artificial insemination, it's artificial. Well, so is a blood transfusion. Look, here's another one that's artificial. Artificial respiration. You're choking, and I come, and you can't breathe, and I breathe for you by putting my breath in your body. Artificial respiration. Hey, it's artificial, but it'll save your life. Just like a blood transfusion. And so people are saying, hey, look, I can't have children on my own, and I need a donor. And there's a shortage. There is a shortage of donors. And as you know, most people would like a donation to be from a person who shares at least their phenotype. I mean, if I'm African American, I would want, and my wife wanted to have a child, and we couldn't have a child because, for whatever reason on my part, I would want the donor to be somebody who at least has something in common with me as far as appearance goes, so that when the child is born, the nurse won't look down at the child and look up at me and look down at the child, then look up at me and say, "You're going to need a lawyer." You want somebody who looks a little bit like you, so that, it makes it a little easier on everybody, I think. Would you do it? Now, there are three sets of men who are out there now who are trying to make up for the shortfall. There are those guys who just feel like that it would be great for them to replicate themselves. They feel good about out there in this world that there are children who share their DNA, that they have replicated themselves, at least partially, through the process of artificial insemination. They don't want to have anything to do with the parent or the child. They just want to be a donor. It's like if you donate blood, you don't say, I'd like to know who'd you give blood to? Ralph? Did you give it to Ralph? Where's Ralph's address? I want to go by and see how Ralph is doing with my blood. No, you make the donation and you move on. So there are men like that who feel that way. Then there are other men who do this, who make that donation because it's a way to make additional money. I don't know how much people make. Let me take a look at this. I don't know how much people make when they donate, but let's see. It says here that people don't make a whole lot of money doing it, but there's some people who do make money with doing it. The same way, like if you go to Red Cross and donate your blood, they don't give you money, but at Blood Bank, we'll give you money. And so there's some people who make money by donating their secret sauce. Now, then there are other people who use it as an opportunity, donating their sperm as an opportunity to enjoy activities with the recipient of the donation without having to have long-term relationships with them. I am wondering, are any of you men out there who have ever donated? If you have, I'd like to hear from you. If you're a guy out there and you are thinking of it, or you would do it, I'd like to hear from you. If you're dead set against it, I'd like to hear from you. If you are a woman out there who has received a donation, I'd like to hear from you, or tell me what you would think, whether you received it or not. Would you do it? Have you thought about it? I remember as a much younger pastor, there was a woman who became pregnant and she wasn't married, and the church said, well, we have to address this. And when I addressed it, she said, oh no, Pastor, this was artificial. And there was nothing I could do about it. She said that this was like what they used to kind of baste her or something. And later on found out that she hadn't told me the truth. Somebody pointed out who the donor was, and he was part of a relationship with her. She had lied about it, but at one point she had me thinking that she had gone and did this on her own. I am wondering whether or not is there a taboo in the Black community of even talking about it? I know that most of the listeners at WURD are Black. Maybe there's a taboo. Maybe many of you are thinking, Nick, why are you talking about something so... It's not risque, it's life. It's not... If somebody out there says it's nasty, then you just have to grow up. It's actual life, and there's a shortage right now, and people are being paid good money to make these donations. I'm wondering about you. 215-634-8065 is the number here at the station. 215-634-8065. I am shocked. I am SHOCKED. I am shocked that none of you have any thoughts on this issue, that none of the fellas have any thoughts on it. I am absolutely chagrined, flummoxed, and surprised. And that women don't have anything to say about this. This amazes me. All right, Southwest Philadelphia. Dwayne, you called in, so I'm going to take the call and find out what I'm doing wrong and asking this question. Welcome to the show.
Well, how you doing, Brother Nick?
Well, you know, obviously I'm here on the lonely limb talking about a topic that people think is unimportant.
Yes, well, you know, I gave blood and I got money out of it.
Okay. Now, we weren't talking about blood, you know.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about another bodily fluid that produces life. Would you consider giving that?
If I would give it if I figure a person needed bad, yes.
Okay, and when you say they need it bad, I mean, it's not like they're going to die if they don't get it, but someone else will not live if they don't get it. So you would make that contribution?
Yes.
Okay. Would you want to be paid for it, or is it something that you would just prefer to do just as your charitable duty to mankind?
Yes, I would. I would do it for nothing. Then I would also take money too.
Okay, it's according to what was there. Would you want to follow the life of the child that might be produced after you made the donation?
What I would like to take care of, or what?
Let me ask it this way: if they told you, if they said, "Listen, Dwayne, this child will never know who the donor was, but we can keep you in touch so that you can know who the child is," would you want to follow the life of that child produced by the donation?
Yes.
You would.
Yeah.
Would you want that?
I like to know how he made out, or how he,
Okay.
I would like to help him.
Would you like for that child to know who you were and how you were making out?
Yes.
Oh man, this thing's getting rich now. Next thing I know, you're gonna be dating the mother. That's interesting. Have you ever thought about it before?
No, I haven't thought about it before, but since I heard about it, I would do it. Because, I'm the type of person like help people out.
Well, there you go, man. I mean, I think that your helping spirit is something that would be appreciated by many, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I think that's what God would want us to do. That's what I believe. That's my belief.
Okay. Hey, Dwayne,
right.
you have helped us
you have a
greatly,
good day.
man. All right, man, I appreciate it. There's a brave man right there willing to talk about something that's important. Right now in the United States of America, there's a shortage on sperm donations, and people are really trying to find ways to make up for the shortage. There are a lot of fellas out there, and they've given them a name. Let me share with you what the name is for those individuals who are out trying to. Let me share with you. This is from the Inside Hook newsletter, News and Opinion from January the 8th, 2021. The name of those men who are making extra donations they're being called Sperm Kings. This is news, folks. I'm not making this up. Damon in Overbrook Farms, one of my favorite areas. Thank you for calling, Damon, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, Nick, good evening to you. Yeah,
Good evening,
just like to chime in, pick up, I'll answer that question also, but what Brother Woody was saying as far as properties.
Okay.
My family did the same thing, acquired properties back in the 50s and 60s, and always had what we call a safe house.
Oh.
Some family members fall on hard times, getting put out of a house or apartment. Father had a house for him. You come live there till you get back up on your feet.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And fortunately, I acquired those properties from my parents, and my wife and I, went ahead and upgraded and made them modernized today. Mm-hmm. And it's key what Brother Woody was saying. I looked at some of the deeds of those properties. A couple of them, a 3-story my father bought back in 55 for $7,000.
Wow.
Today, I'm getting offers for $350.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Not for sale, not yet. Not for sale, because I got a family member in there now, right? Young family, children, recently married, right? I said, we're helping each other. I got somebody in there I can sleep good at night. Nobody's telling me about. I was trying to dry my lingerie on a ceiling fan, and it came down. They're taking care of the property. We charge them a modest rent. That way they're able to save money. And eventually they told us they're looking at a house now to purchase themselves. And people would ask.
And how many of these houses do you have?
At the present time, we have 3. Over the years, before my father passed and my father sold a few, right? And we maintain these right here, right? I said, let me take them over. And actually, I grew my family up in one of the houses, right? We went in there and renovated, modernized it. And fortunately, today is generating something where we can help each other. nobody's getting charged these new Philadelphia rates for rent.
They're getting sky high.
We can pay the taxes. I can keep up with the maintenance. So I'm not making a big profit off of them, you know.
Yeah, but now that I know that you have this property and that you have a space to live, there was something I've been meaning to tell you. Damon, I am your long lost cousin.
Oh, I got a garage for you. Hey, don't laugh, because see, people now are taking garages in Philadelphia, insulating
without
them,
question.
right?
Without question.
That's a one-bedroom studio. Right?
It
you
is.
Put a king-size bed in there, your kitchenette, little dinette, right? You got your closet space.
I'll be right there.
Hey, I got you set up. And
all right, cousin Damon. Let's talk a little bit about this other situation here. Would that be something that you're willing to do?
I would, and I would like to see how the child turns out in life.
Now, would you want the child to know who you were as the donating father?
She can contact me. They might need some guidance.
So, I mean, for example, can he contact you from the time he's 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old?
He or she can contact me from the time they say their first syllables.
Wow. And so basically, if they say they contact you and they say, look, I'm having a rough time here, I want to come stay with you, what would you say then?
Well, I have to evaluate them.
Okay.
All right. I'm not going to push them to the curb, but I need to evaluate you, see how you've been living.
Okay.
I can't have you bringing trouble to me. You see?
Okay.
See, that's another thing we got to look out for our family members, right? I need a place to say, hold up now, I got to evaluate what's going on here. Okay?
You say you might be my seed, but I ain't going to meet your need. Okay.
That's right. You know, I can't have trouble knocking at the doors now. If you've been trying to live, you know, a good prosperous life, right? And you fell on some hard times, and I got a space for you, right? I can, you know, help lift you up. I will. But if you're bringing trouble to the doors, right, I got to put the brakes on you.
All right, last question, and that is this. So you would not be willing to donate if you could not follow the life of the child? You wouldn't donate anonymously?
No, I wouldn't donate anonymously. You know, the child might wind up, 3 oceans away. You know, I like to see, you know, let me see how he or she turned out, you know.
Okay.
You know.
Point well made.
Yes, and you know, one other thing. Let's get back on the property real quick.
Quick. Got about 30 seconds for you.
Okay. It was instilled in me, right? Do not go out and purchase that vehicle for $25,000 to $35,000 and up without having a set of bricks. Now, everybody don't want a property, but get yourself an apartment. If you want property, the bricks bring money. The car depreciates. I don't care if it's a Lamborghini or a Volkswagen.
That is true.
The price goes down, the bricks go up. And I always pose that to a lot of brothers and sisters. Fortunately, Nick, you know, the women move out quicker than the men on that.
Hey, you know, listen, and I appreciate, Damon, I appreciate the call, and I'll be moving in next week. But you know, you're right. In this age of conspicuous wealth, people will spend more for their car than, in many cases, they'd be willing to spend for their housing. And even though when you buy a house, the next week it has gone up and appreciated in value, but your car, when you drive it off the lot, immediately takes a tumble. Hey, Damon, thank you for that call. We're going to take a quick break and Cleve. When we come back, we will get your response to the question that the world is waiting to hear the answers to right here on Evening Words with Nick, WURD 900 AM, 96.1 FM. Stay with us.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. We breathe every day and have been doing so since before we were born. But wait, let's think about this for a moment. Something as simple as breathing can enhance our health and well-being. When we breathe mindfully, we slow down, take deep breaths, and activate our parasympathetic system to relax our bodies. Mindful breathing goes like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, close your eyes and relax your hands on your thighs. Number 3, take a deep breath in and count to 3. Then exhale your breath and count to 3. Do this 5 times. We sometimes think mindful breathing has to be an intense experience, yet even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at WURD. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. You're listening to Evening Words, hosted by Nick Taliaferro, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
15 minutes away from Save Space, Sarita Martin coming your way. Sincerely, Sarita is joining you in just about another 15 minutes. Save space for her. Before we get to Cleve, let me just share a couple of numbers with you. Men are paid anywhere from $35 to $125 per donation, according to spermbankdirectory.com. That's anywhere from $35 to $125 per donation. Wow. $125 per donation. Man, that's... Manhattan Cryobank says that it pays donors $1,500 a month for their sperm. $1,500 a month. Wow. That's a lot of cheddar right there. We go to Cleve in Philadelphia. Cleve, thank you for welcoming to me. That's what happens when you get tired, Cleve. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good to hear from you.
Good. Yes. So yeah, you have this interesting topic, and I was thinking about it, and I wasn't sure, so I figured I'd kind of approach it a different way. So I asked myself, like, how many people out here are donating their sperm, in quotations, that are like more like a burden, to women or people. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure when you say more like a burden. I'm not sure what you mean.
Just fatherless kids, absent fathers, and like in that way. You know what I mean? Like women, unplanned pregnancies for the most part. You know what I mean? And
it's not unplanned if it's a donation because the person is going into a clinic for the express purpose of becoming pregnant.
No, I understand that part, but I'm saying I flipped it for myself and figured like how many people are out here donating their sperm, not unwillingly. You know what I mean? Or they're just having relations with women and making children and not taking care of them, and the women trying to figure out what to do with them rather than.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. So that's how I try to approach it. So like I mean, taking from that point of view, like planning, and donating, which is like in this case like a blessing. I think I would have to, I think I would do that.
Would you? Again, I asked the question that others have answered. Would you wish to know about the life of the child produced by the donation?
Of course. I mean, of course. I don't know to what degree to know, but or how in time. But it would. I think I would like to know.
Yeah. It's funny. In my mind, I'm thinking that I wouldn't like to know because if I know, then it puts me in a position where I would feel relationally moved to respond not only to the child's needs, but to my own need to be connected to the personality of the life that was produced.
Yeah, I mean, but that's true. But at the same time, I think, maybe or not, like you would think about it would haunt you maybe over time. And so like you would maybe think about it, and always wonder, or what if, or why, or maybe not. But I think in some cases, like I would be curious, like to know, again, like to what degree my involvement, but it would, I wouldn't mind knowing, the outcome of the child.
Wow. Wow. And I mean, and not just, I'm looking at some other numbers. Here's one where one guy made $12,000 a year donating sperm. Another person made $15,000 a year donating. I didn't realize that there was that much money involved in this process.
So in those cases, these gentlemen are this is more than one child that are being produced.
Oh yeah, I mean, my understanding is they have to go in several times a month to make a deposit. How do you tell people? I mean, if I'm going to the bank to make a deposit, I tell people I'm going to the bank to make a deposit. How do you tell people what you're doing when you're going to make that deposit?
I don't know, but I'm sure if it's bringing enough income, I'm sure people will be curious and want to know how they can get in.
Well said, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, look, man. Thank you for bringing an enlightening conversation to this. I appreciate you taking the time to not only listen but to share.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure, man. Don't make it so long the next time. Look forward to the next conversation. Okay, Cleve, that's great. I must tell you, it's unique. I really thought that we would hear from some of the ladies as well. And I'm going to ask this question, even though we don't really have time left. Ladies, if you were married and let's say your husband said, look, we're a little short this month or next month, but I can make $500 or so by donating my sperm to the sperm bank. And, they won't know who I am and it won't bother our family. Would you be willing to let your husband do that purely as a matter of business? I mean, I'm just wondering. I've got time for two ladies. If they can answer really quick, Now, this is someone saying, I donate my eggs. I wouldn't need to know them personally, but would want updates so that in the event that I needed to intervene, I'd be able to. Whoa! In the event I felt, see, now that puts a lot of pressure on a relationship because you might think you need to intervene, but as the parent of the child that I'm raising, that you ain't got nothing to do with raising. All you did was made a tissue donation. I mean, how are you to come up and say, I think I need to intervene? I don't like the way you cook them carrots for little Rupert, and little Rupert is my seed. Let me get to Ann real quick. Ann, we got just about 2 minutes left, and they all belong to you. Welcome to the show. Hello, Ann.
That's the second gentleman called him. He wants to know about the child and this, that, and that. He's not the one. Because I can see him being a pain in the behind.
Who's this?
Not the one that just got off with the other. He would like to know. He would like to follow up on the child in case of this, in case of that. He'd probably be telling the child, I'm down on my luck. I need some money. I gave you life and all this type of stuff. No, you don't need him. But they need to get some restriction on this thing. Cause they done went crazy. They just have it so that you know nothing. But the people know, in case, sometimes children come up with a rare defect or, blood defect or something like that. They would have to know who the real parent is, something else, like that. Other than that, don't allow the child to at least 10 or 15 years of age, something like that, and they ain't going to record. Because I see right now, these people going to be black now. Oh, I'm down on my luck. I need some help.
Well, you are getting that point made. Unfortunately, Ann, I've got to get ready to go. But I needed this laugh at the end of this program. We're getting all sorts of messages. A couple of ladies are saying that they would donate their eggs. I will not tell you what their names are. They would donate their eggs, but I would need to know personally so that in the need to intervene, I could. But see that? I don't know. I don't think you get that shot. Somebody else said they would need to know. Look, if I donate my eggs, you make an omelet, you make them sunny side up. If you can make them eggs Benedict, I'm out the door. I'm gone.
It makes me think of that movie that came out with Morris Chestnut and Regina Hall, I think. It was the one where they had the surrogate mother.
Oh, Kayla must remember. I mean, Kayla must remember that one.
Yeah, she remembers that. She laughing in here. Where the surrogate mother wanted to keep the baby, and then she fell in love with the guy, but that was, the extreme circumstances. But
I'd have to watch that one. I mean, look, it happens more than you think. It's a real. When I say it's a business, it is a business, but it meets a need. There are people who want to have children who can't have them. Hey, I've got to get ready to go, folks. So my donation has been made, and it's been in the form of dialogue. I want to thank all of our guests who joined us today, and we've had a really good day of discussing. I want to thank Gabino Iglesias, who helped us to review the book Deacon King Kong. I want to thank our guests for participating and winning that bundle of books from Defina Books. Remember that's right, our book club. We made the announcement. We didn't make the announcement. Tell you what I'll do. Set it up right. I'll make it tomorrow when I come on first thing. Special day tomorrow. Hey, look, stay tuned. Sincerely, Sarita makes her way to you with her unique and special style of broadcast expertise. We thank also Laurie Jones from Philabundance, and more than anyone else, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Eric Nixon, and all the folks who make it possible for us to broadcast to you on a daily basis here. And I'm Nick Taliaferro, wishing you a great day today, a better one tomorrow, and I will see you again right here on the radio. Take care.